What is up, beautiful people? This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Auto Skin Detail. Give them a follow on Instagram, like a couple pictures, show them some love. This podcast is also brought to you by Cinder, fulfilling all of your cannabis needs in Spokane. Visit them at cindersmoke.com and order your buds before you get to the store. Let's go! Yo, I'm just happy to be here. I got a big weed stash, pocket full of cash, just saw a big ol' ass. It's Saturday. What is up, beautiful people of the world? My name is Exact Change, and I'm happy to be here today with the cannabis concentrate connoisseur himself, Jay-Z.
My guy.
Didn't want to give his full government name on there.
Exactly. No one will know. But it's me. They'll see my face, so it's okay.
Okay, that's all they get.
Find me.
You can put it together.
You can look up my name on Google, and it'll bring up some shit. I think it'll bring up my accident. I don't know if it'll say I'm alive or what. I can't remember, but you can. You can.
What?
Yeah.
What happened? What was your accident? What happened?
I got a really bad. Oh shoot, man, that's a long story. So, speaking of Cat and Mo.
Oh, this was.
I was doing. What do you call them? Beer bongs. But we would use Black Death. We usually drink in Keystone Ice.
Oh my god!
And then we top it off with some Cat and Mo or something.
In the beer bong?
Oh yeah. And then this is right after, because I used to, like, in 2010 I was really addicted to pills and shit like that. And I just got it done, so I started fucking putting on weight, man. I was never been fat, and I was like 195. I was drinking and stuff all the time. Right now, I'm probably like 160, 165 or something like that.
So you had 30 pounds of just beer.
Oh, man, I was a big boy. And I mean, you wouldn't even know it. And I remember there was a picture of me with the beer bong, and like I was doing the Cat and Mo knee and everything. And it was bad. But I went to GameStop because that was the night Mortal Kombat 9 was dropping. It was so midnight releases.
2010.
If you remember midnight releases, man.
I do.
I went to GameStop. I was fucking shit-faced. And I remember waiting in line. Waiting for all the things to come in. I already pre-ordered, so I was in like the fast line. We got my stuff and we kept going. So we left. Literally, when they say be safe, that things can happen from a block from your house. Literally, a block from my destination, I got hit by a freaking 2-ton Chevy truck in my hatchback Honda Civic. It's ripped through me like freaking cheese shredder, man. I hit a tree. They had to cut off the top of my car to get us out.
So there was you and there's other people in the car?
Yeah. And my buddy, he was apparently okay. He was able to get out. He had a finger issue. I was all messed up. They had to pull me out, and my lungs were collapsed, and all my guts were pushed up into my belly, and they had to do a double puncture on me. And my boss, later on I'll tell you, my carpet cleaner boss is a firefighter as well, on the scene, keeping me alive.
He was there?
Yeah, because I found out later, he was there.
Oh, because he was...
He's a firefighter. He's a first responder.
Holy shit.
And I got to shake the guy that resuscitated me and brought me back to life. His name was Dave Vagley. Like, he's a good firefighter around town.
Wow.
But yeah, to shake his hand. He went to high school with my dad and stuff. But they pulled me out of the car, re-punctured my lungs, or they did that so because my lungs were deflated. So like they had to put air to inflate them so I could breathe again.
Oh, okay.
So once they did that, they got me going again. But I woke up and I started fighting everybody and stuff like that. And then when that happens, they know it's brain trauma. So they give you some kind of sedative.
To just chill you out.
And they put it out. And you forget about the whole. So I don't really, I'm just remembering from what they told me, from what my boss told me and stuff like that.
So this isn't, you can't come back to that.
No, not that scenario. I said, I remember GameStop, but I don't remember the accident or anything like that.
So you don't remember like the moments leading up to it hitting you?
No.
Whoa.
No. They said
or
I ran
it hitting you.
They said I ran a stop sign and then they hit me. So I was facing like 2 accounts of vehicular assault, 2 felonies, just a bunch of stuff. And the gal that hit me was on coke and meth and drinking
in the truck.
Oh yeah, she had a line of things, because later on, after I got better and stuff, and I had to go back and I had to pay my dues with the police. So when you get a DUI, so like they were like, we have all this stuff against you, but we can't go with this lady's testimony because she was all messed up and she was getting arrested even after the thing. She was like thrown from the vehicle or something like that, and had 3rd-degree burns from the truck engine or something like that.
Fuck.
But still better than me. I got the worst out of everything, you know.
And you were driving?
Yep, I was driving.
So she like hit your side?
She, we spun.
Your side, like the door side?
Yeah, dude. I got a picture of my car.
Every car
is done.
And what you said was a hatchback?
Dude, like I said, that's a 2-ton truck versus my 2,000-pound car.
Wow, bro. And so, because you have that big scar on your...
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Huge.
Holy fuck, dude. So what did they have to get in their fucking head or what?
So they had to take off. So this guy, I'm not going to say his name, but he was my neurosurgeon. Mm-hmm. But he saved one of my other friends who had brain issues. Mm-hmm. Saved us. Then my other friend he's a spinal doctor and a brain doctor, ruined my other friend's life. Like straight up, he's in a cane for the rest of his life because
he just did something wrong?
Yes. Fucked up, man. Yep.
Wow.
And this guy saved my life. And so, and it's crazy. I know 3 people from the same surgeon who saved 2 people and
1 person.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, dude, stick to brains, man. Stick to brains. And
bro, that's a fucking lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm. And because he makes decisions, man. My mom told me that he's like, his brain is swelling. If we don't cut off a chunk of his skull so his brain has room to swell, he's gonna die. And he's like, if this was my kid, I would do that. And
that was you.
My mom, yeah, my mom. He's telling my mom this, and she of course she is distraught and everything. You know, learning your son is going to die and all this stuff like that. So she's saved my kid.
She's like, whatever you have to do.
It worked. They put me in a coma for like a week, sedated, so my brain could swell and I could just, heal, because they also had to do surgery. Like I said, my guts were all pushed up into my diaphragm. So they had to piece me all back together because I have a 1-foot-long scar down my belly too.
Oh.
They cut me open like a fish, man.
And you weren't conscious for any of this stuff? You don't remember any of this?
Not the first ones. The second ones, because I've had like 4 surgeries.
All related to the same?
Because they took it out and then they had to put it back in. Mm-hmm. But I also had to have plates in my face, and because I had fractures, I couldn't chew solid food for like
you can get magnets to stick to your head.
Like I just found that out.
That's so cool. There's a show I used to watch when I was a kid. It was called Pete and Pete, and one kid had a plate, or no, the mom had a plate in her head or something. Yeah, and like so he would use the garage opener to like ricochet off her head to close the garage. Yeah, it's just
that's I remember that show was on Nickelodeon.
On Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
yeah, dude.
You know what's funny is that kid that's on that show. Mm-hmm. I later on I was watching Drunk History. It was on Hulu.
Yeah, and
they just had that on there. That show's freaking hilarious, man. They just
love that show.
Those short little stories about history, and they're just.
It's great.
This shit's just going down.
Dude, it's like you're learning and it's funny.
But they have cool actors that play all the historical people. And he's one of the main like actors that's reoccurring on that
really?
show. Is the younger brother one, because they're like
the shorter kid.
The shorter one that has red hair and is kind of, chunkier, and he's got really thick brows. He looks exactly the same. Like I knew him instantly. I was like, dude, that's the guy.
See, because I used to watch all that all the time.
Yep.
Did you ever watch that?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Kenan Thompson,
dude.
Kel, freaking Mary Beth.
So I guess Mary Beth, and then that guy you were talking about. I can't remember what his name is, but it's that actor, that short actor, and they were on some type of tour recently.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's pretty cool, man. Like Mary Beth, she was always so funny, and she also looks the exact
She was in
same.
a couple other movies, but I really liked when she played on one movie where she was like some Hungarian like exchange student. She was and you just hear her voice, and it's hilarious. Oh, it was you know what it was? Good Burger with Kenan and Kel.
Oh, yep.
And she comes in and she's one of the customers, and she's just, and they're both like, because afterward, because she's just constantly talking, but her voice, I just hear it. I can't mimic it right now, but it's just, it sounds like a horn going. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Dude, I was such a fan of just Kenan and Kel, like all that. Remember Amanda?
Yep. Amanda Bynes,
she's
man.
crazy now.
Oh yeah.
But like
Same with like Gwyneth Paltrow.
I guess
man.
she was crazy back then, but I mean, remember Amanda? Like she had the Amanda show, and she was just insane. Like she was just the goofiest, craziest kid like ever.
She was very tomboy. Like she didn't grow into herself like way later in life. Like she was always like, you know, flat chested. Excuse me for this, but it's still. But she just didn't grow into herself for a long time, and I just felt like that's why she was able to do little kid shows for such a long time that she was in there.
And then probably like you then shoot off into this whole other world.
And I think that's why she didn't transition to becoming more of a main stage actor, because she was such a child star for so long that she was just like slapped with that. That's why like who else is like that that 70s show, Ashton Kutcher. He really can't, like, he's had a couple serious movies, but he can't be like a method actor or a different, because to be a method actor you have to be monogamous. You can't have people know your personal life.
What is his like Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey.
Like Jim Carrey can
I'm thinking
pull it
like
off.
Johnny Depp or
Okay.
Joaquin Phoenix.
I don't know any of those guys' lives.
Exactly. That's why they can be anybody in their acting.
Because you
can't envision them as a normal person. It's always their acting. You know what their styles are.
Dude, that's crazy.
But being a methodical actor, you have to stay like under the radar. No one can know. Like same with Robert Downey. Everybody knows him as,
because you have to be really convinced. And then it also kind of haunts them too when they play a role so good that they're just like, no, bro,
that's your role. Like that's
like
what
how
they
was
find you.
the fact that Tom Hanks was able to not be Forrest Gump and then become Castaway and become like,
he's a good actor.
He's a good fucking
become
actor.
freaking what was his last movie? Mr. Frickin' Rogers. That's method actor. Either did I, but it's supposedly really good. He's a great actor. But speaking of like actors that couldn't get out of role, Hugh Jackman, Wolverine.
Oh, that's
since
true.
like 2000, like that guy's. Sorry,
he's
man.
done a bunch of other things, but he's Wolverine.
If a really good Hugh Jackman movie is with Christian Bale. I think it's out right now. It's called The Prestige. It's a magician movie.
That is a good movie.
And, oh man, what a rocking film!
That's an older one, right, Chris?
Mm-hmm. That was like, it's like around like
That's
he uses like
great
Nikola
movie.
Tesla's like his science to create a clone of himself, and then isn't he like killing off the clone? Oh, sorry, I don't want to spoil.
Well, it's an older movie, so.
Spoiler alert.
What's your go-to? What's your favorite film? You seem a little
shit.
bit like a film buff.
Well,
Because I am, for sure, 100%.
let's say, so I'm not a connoisseur. I don't watch a new movie and be like, this. If I really like a movie, I'm gonna watch it all the time. Like, my girlfriend, we just watched Silence of the Lambs. She'd never seen Silence of the Lambs before. Like a lot of the movies, I'm just like, really, you've never seen this? Never seen that?
I love that.
Silence of the Lambs.
I love that when someone's like, "Oh, I haven't." You're like, "Oh."
And I mean, and I try to watch other movies and stuff like that, but it's just hard for me to get into new movies sometimes. It's a good thing that she has such a diverse, different kind of. She likes history and stuff like that. So like historical dramas like that are historically accurate and stuff like that. She's all about old history and stuff.
She told
like
me you
that.
guys were watching that The Great.
The Great with Catherine the Great. I think it's Catherine the Great.
Amazon, right?
No, it's Hulu.
Oh, Hulu.
And it's
good.
It's fucking a rocking show because it's like it's historically accurate, but it's not, because it's like they're like the scenarios that's going on in the world at the time, but what's going on, you're in a rich life with the emperor and stuff like that. So everybody's dying in the trenches and stuff like that. He's getting fights with his homies, fucking his homie's girlfriend. Why they're and he's fucking his
And this is what
wives.
year is this supposed to be in? I don't. Catherine the Great. I suck at history. So.
Man, it's
like 1800s or
early 1800s. That's probably a good estimation.
It's hard to wrap your head around something so
Long ago, and the
like
time, but the time frame, like your royalty, you see like a poor person, you're treated like a dog. Like, I'm gonna shoot you in the street. I'm gonna burn you. You have a plague, throw them in the fire. Like, if you're the emperor's wife, you're there to be fucked, to have a kid. You're not there to be loved. You're there to bear a child.
Bro, I was watching. Do you know who Patton Oswalt is?
Yes.
Okay, so I was watching Patton Oswalt's new stand-up on Netflix. Bro.
That guy's a crazy comedian
He's
too.
funny, bro. He was talking about how far we have come in a lot of ways, where it's like, yeah, if you fell on the ground, like they would just start throwing rocks at you and kicking you. Just like if you just like couldn't get up, like they would just fuck you up.
Leave you in the street to die.
There was no like helping somebody. Like if you helped
man.
somebody up, that was like the 1 out of a million.
She was watching this show. It's called Viking, and like these guys stormed the castle, and these people who knew these guys were coming, so they set up traps everywhere. So they they would go down these different alleyways, but they set up spikes. So they would go down, but there'd be no floor, but just spikes up. So their homies would fall in and they fall in these spikes, and then they had nowhere to go. So they start walking all over their homies who are still alive, but they're just impaled. So they have no choice but to walk along their homies as a bridge to get across, and their homies like, no! And they're like, they go their face.
God damn.
It's so close.
That's fucking crazy. Is this Vikings? Is this the show Vikings? Is that what this is? Oh, yeah, this dude's really
One of my favorite shows.
Dude, it's a fucking. She just watches shows, and I'm just like, I come in and people are like, I'm like, whoa, I'm just getting into it. So she watches a lot of cool shows. Like,
But that's the way it was back then.
dude, the Borgias, man, that's another show. That's about
The Borgias?
The Borgias is a family. It was the Pope. So at the time, during that time, the Pope was God. The Pope word was law, man, and like they were.
And this is where
in Rome and like in Europe.
Rome, okay.
Mhm.
Europe.
So like you would go there, you would try to make freaking deals, and there's coups and there's this, and I mean it's such a crazy show, and you just think about what they were allowed to do back then, like get away with, like murder, like if you knew a guy was being fucked up, and like you go on those shows, like you watch and you're like, God, somebody just killed that guy. But now these days, you can't just go kill that guy. Back then you're like, man, I wish that motherfucker would die.
They would just kill him.
He gets got because back then you get got in the street.
But then
this guy's
like,
dead.
On the other side of the coin, it's crazy because back then it's like to prove something. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like if you were the king, you're like, no. What do you mean?
Exactly.
No, that never happened. Like what?
Like there used to be civilizations like that, like Sparta and stuff like that. If you wanted to be king, you would fucking raise, you would have to fight the king to be king and shit like that.
Bro, imagine if that's how it was for like presidents. Like
That's
like
how
Trump,
it
you want to
should
be
be.
fucking, you want to be president, you got to fight Obama.
Same with wars, man. We shouldn't have wars. We should take our two leaders, and if we're fighting against it, throw them in a ring, man. MMA, that
dude.
shit.
I bet you Obama would whoop Trump's ass, bro.
Every country would make so much fucking money, dude. It's like it's a win-win for everybody.
We already love UFC. I think that you shouldn't even be able to be the president if you don't know mixed martial arts.
fucking A,
You know
dude.
what I mean?
Nowadays,
Like, how are you?
take some kind of boxing lesson,
Something, bro.
Because like if somebody comes up and they talk some shit, and if you don't have the backup, but this is America.
How are you gonna put somebody in office who literally is? You're like, if somebody
You
talks
blow
some
on
shit,
them,
you
they're gonna
can't
die.
back it up.
Nothing. I didn't do anything. It's not my fault.
No, I got guys that know martial arts.
Yeah.
No, that's not good enough. No, we appointed you.
Exactly.
I need you to be able to just. And this is another thing. Okay, like I said, I don't like to get political on my podcast, but like presidents being like 80 years old.
That's fucked up.
Like, can we get it like a president with some abs? You know what I mean? Can we get like
fucking California got Arnold.
okay, like Arnold? I'm thinking like
And
Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis.
I mean, I don't know about his.
But that dude's old now. He's damn near 70 years old.
That's true. We need new Bruce Willis.
But how about some like Tom Hardy? Like he's a cool dude. No, but I don't know.
Tom Hardy.
But we can't have somebody too young either. Like that.
Isn't he
'cause-
British?
Yeah. Fuck it. This is America, man.
Thor.
We're a bunch of mutts, dude. Dude.
I mean, honestly, The Rock.
Have you ever watched like Chris Helmsworth like actual interviews? He is Thor, man, in real life.
Oh, dude, he is funny, man.
He is funny.
Dude, that's the reason the Thor movies I feel like did so good too.
Dude, the first couple.
They're
Have you ever
funny.
seen the first two?
Oh yeah,
The rom-coms,
Hilarious, bro. Hilarious. And I mean,
But when he goes back to like Ragnarok and
no, I liked Ragnarok. I thought that was funny too.
that's probably the best Thor movie, hands down. One of the best Marvel movies, hands
So
down.
wait, is that the second one?
It's the third one.
That's the third one. Okay.
It's with Jeff Goldblum and
Yeah, I really
dude,
like that one a
oh
lot.
man. When I went and watched that in theaters, and I had never laughed in the theaters so hard in my life, like in a long time.
And you don't expect to laugh when you're going to see like a Marvel flick.
Exactly, and they were just perfect little things where you're just like, it's fucking hilarious.
I remember somebody telling me, dude, Ragnarok, you need to see it.
It's good.
Yeah, and it was great.
Who's your favorite Marvel character?
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we always have debates about this because he hates Spider-Man. But
It's not that I hate Spider-Man. I just
Spider-Man-
think he's just like the most pointless.
I'm all about those. Yeah, like okay, number one, when I was a kid, I wanted to just be able to, like okay, number one, like with Spider-Man, you can do a bunch of different superpowers in one, right? Because it's like, oh, you want to be invisible.
There's so many variants.
He
of
could just
Spider-Man.
be on the ceiling. Like he could be a fly on the wall. You wouldn't even know he's there. He can climb up shit. He can swing from shit. He could just like, and then like cover your mouth up with some web. You can't talk anymore. He could wrap you up.
He would just wrap your ass up.
He can
He's
fight crime.
OP, man.
Dude, you know?
He's
and,
OP.
And then he can fall like from like a really far distance and land on his back or something and just be straight and just like kind of be like, oh,
Who do you
shit.
Well, let's say, okay, well, my let me, because I'm gonna veer off of the question here. So my favorite is probably either it's a cross up between Captain America and you don't like the Cap?
I'm just looking at him.
Dude, the Cap is Steve Rogers is the shit.
Okay.
Well, who's my other guy? Because I mean, I was a big Spider-Man guy too, but
I mean, Spider-Man's young too. That's why I like Spider-Man, man. He's a young buck, bro. He's kicking it with some
because like
beautiful
think
women.
about, like
you know,
I'm gonna say Blade.
Oh, Blade.
I'm gonna say Blade.
Damn.
Because
he's a Marvel character.
He's an OG Marvel character. Like nobody knows that. Like the OG Blade movies, they didn't have Marvel slapped on them.
They didn't have the Marvel slapped
but
on.
he's
Yeah.
straight from Marvel.
Oh, I did
Wesley
not know
Snipes
that.
is the shit.
Dude, the Blade movies are badass.
God, dude, they're
Fucking
the
Ryan
shit.
Reynolds, bro.
But no, the veer off one. Who do you think the most OP Marvel character is? Chris, you can get on this too.
You're talking about like
In general, like just people who just had like if they were real life, they would just have ridiculous power that would just make them God.
Oh yeah. Fuck, dude. I would probably say. I mean, Wolverine for sure.
Really?
I mean, come on, bro. Like you can fucking regenerate.
I guess, but I mean,
I'm not like super well versed. Chris would be
Okay.
you know, he'd bust out some fucking dude that's only in the comic books.
Okay,
The Sentry for me. That's
Century.
yeah.
Like, I don't.
and well, I'm not familiar with the Sentry.
So the Sentry is like he's Omni level. So he's
Okay.
like he's way up there. He fights the Hulk in one of the series to the point where he reverts.
No, we are
back
talking
to,
about like pure strength. I'm talking about like just empowered general.
in general. Okay, I
I'm
mean,
thinking of reality. I'm talking about Doctor Strange.
okay, Professor Xavier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Doctor
that's
Strange,
true.
Professor Xavier, people that just have this, that don't really get much action, but they are just super OP characters. Like if you want to see a really good Marvel movie, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I love Doctor Strange.
That's
actually.
such a
It's
great
super
movie. Like
yeah.
I want a second one really bad. You know what else I'm really looking forward to is the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's gonna have Chris Hemsworth in it now,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
Chris
yeah.
Pratt, Chris and Chris together.
So they can put all these things together. So that's actually what's fucking badass is how they've told the story, and then they've so that
and
way
they
you can bring everybody
converge
together.
it together, man. And I never watched the Guardian movie before. Excuse me. Before my girlfriend was like, "You've never seen these?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not interested in that one." Like that's because I'm not a
You're like, this is
connoisseur.
bootleg Marvel.
I
What
like
is this?
certain movies. Like my favorite movie. I'm gonna go to like Fight Club or Scarface or Boondock Saints or something that I like watching all the time. Maybe Lord of the Rings or Tron or even dude. I've watched Aladdin on Disney Plus. I don't know how many fucking times now. Like I just
like the new one.
I'm big on nostalgia. If it's a nostalgia, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
Oh,
all day. Throw that on.
Yeah.
I'll fucking
I'm
watch it.
just right there with you, dude. Anything that brings me back to that feeling, that beautiful feeling, that Saturday morning.
It does look like there's another Doctor Strange coming up.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
It doesn't say when. It's part of the Phase 4. There's like 12 different
There's
movies
too
coming
many
out.
things that are coming up. So, like the Mandalorian season 2 is about to have a teaser, man. I just got rid of Disney Plus
I
too,
feel
man.
Disney
So I'm like,
Plus.
God,
Disney
right
Plus is
when they
bullshit.
do that, they're like, you get rid of something, and they're like, but look, something you wanted to watch is coming
Hey,
out.
so
You're
if
like,
you
son
if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
That's a very good question.
Like, you've thought about this when you were a kid, right? Like, bro, I used to take a fucking plastic bag, like a Safeway bag, and I used to try to jump off this big ass ledge and try to parachute down, and I almost broke my legs.
Oh man.
But then I was like, man, I wish I was Spider-Man. I would just kind of fly around the neighborhood.
Yeah, because I mean that's like the thing you go to is like I don't know. I'm gonna pick Batman because he's my favorite superhero.
Batman doesn't even have a power.
He has unlimited money. It's his power, dude.
He ain't lying.
Unlimited money.
You want to be Jeff Bezos. That's what you want to be.
He can lift over 1,000 pounds. He's
pretty jacked.
He can break.
You're Jeff Bezos. That's what you're trying to be. Jeff Bezos is probably fucking Batman. I'm gonna be honest with you.
He could be if he wanted to.
Because he's pretty jacked and he's got billions of dollars.
If he got jacked and he just went
He
off.
is jacked.
If he left and just got trained with some ninjas for like years and then just came back and when like his Amazon company was just taken over by
Dude, I
somebody
wouldn't
else
be
and he had to come
surprised.
back and Jeff Bezos is coming back.
Bro, I wouldn't be surprised he came back Terminator style with some metal legs.
I was
Like,
totally thinking Shredder in the foot.
Right?
No, you guys remember Crane?
Crane.
Even
Crane,
better.
the big dude with the brain in his stomach.
Oh,
Bro, from Ninja Turtles.
from Ninja Turtles. Okay.
That's what
What's
I'm
his name? Crane or Cram? Or I thought it
No,
was
it's
like
Crane.
okay.
Look
Is that
it
the
up.
little brain in there?
The little brain. That's Crane right there, dude.
Okay.
With the big fucking. Like,
he was also in the jar all the time.
looking
Yeah.
like the Stay Puft Marshmallow body and shit.
I just remember him, because I kind of watched the cartoon back in the day. I just remember the Super Nintendo games.
Oh, so great.
Turtles in Time.
Oh,
I played that game so many freaking times.
It is in fact Krang. Krang. I
was gonna say
with
it.
a G.
Yeah,
Krang.
like Krang or something. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Nice.
Man, did you say what superpowers you want? I don't remember what you said. Like you
He
want-
did.
Like, unlimited money.
He
Oh,
said
yeah,
Batman.
Unlimited money. Like, but and
So
yeah,
you could be
basically,
invisible. You could fucking travel time. You could read minds.
I can
unlimited
build a
money.
machine that makes me invisible. I'll build a watch that I just go like that, invisible.
You're Elon Musk. Okay. All right. This is okay. Check it out. Now, I think that you could. That's just a normal person thing. Like a normal person could have unlimited money. It's not a superpower. So I feel like Batman's not a superhero. He's
he
just a
fights
hero.
Superman. What are you talking about?
I think that in real life, though, he loses every time to Superman. I mean, come on.
I mean, that's debatable in a sense. He did give him a good butt kicking.
Batman's got. He's got. Fancy guns.
Add some
that shoot-
kryptonite suits
But
into
he's
there. It's
super
equal.
Freaking smart, man. He's a detective.
Exactly.
Like there's a movie called like Flash. No, it's I can't remember. It's the one where they're not really a unit yet. It's not Flashpoint, but it's Batman and Green Lantern. Sort of. I can't remember. It's a Justice League movie. But they go. There's this alien race. I think it's with Apocalypse. It's the Apocalypse one. And but anyway. He knows who Superman is already. No, but he doesn't think anybody does. So like how he stops Superman later on, because first he takes Hal Jordan's ring from him because you're supposed to be like no one can take the Green Lantern's ring or anything like that as long as you're concentrating. Well, Hal Jordan's a freaking kind of a narcissist and he freaking takes off his ring and he's like, And he's like, how the frick did you get that? And he calls it back to himself and he's like, you weren't concentrating. And dude, Batman's such a G in that movie.
So he's just.
But no, then he stops Superman. So Hal Jordan's trying to fight Superman, because anything he imagines with his ring, it can happen in real life. So as far as your imagination goes, that's how powerful the Green Lantern ring is. There's so many different lantern rings. We won't get into that, but
Holy shit! Dude,
so
that's badass.
He's fighting Superman just 1-to-1, but not doing very good. Superman's like God, but But he knew Superman's identity before anybody else, and so to stop Superman, he goes Clark Kent and stops, and then freaking he scans and he's like, okay, Bruce Wayne. He's like, what's up? And then they freaking talk it over, and he's like, no. He's like, I am an alien, but because they're trying to figure out what this technology is. It's a long freaking movie, but it's just the fact though. My point is
that he's able to
Batman
diffuse.
is smart. He can diffuse stuff with just his brain. It doesn't have to be just powers or anything like that.
But I mean, I'm saying that,
and it's more of a real state, like you said. I can actually have that power in real life.
that's true, rather than not being.
But I mean, everybody wants flying or like anything, dude. I would want to be Star Wars. I want the Force, man. Give me that shit.
So
Give me
being
a
able to
lightsaber.
That's sales.
That'd be
that's
like
just sales. That's all that is.
telekinesis.
That's sales, bro. You somebody doesn't want to do something. Sales.
Wait. You do want this shitty bag of weed.
Dude, I think that obviously, like ever since we've seen Peter Pan and shit, like being able to just
Fly.
and just fly away.
That's your first thought is like fly. But you had Spider-Man. At least Spider-Man has to have some technique to his.
And he's got but I mean, being able to just like a bird, bro, and just fly like an eagle, and just
I'm trying to think who has
treetops, bro. Just be able to hit a treetop and
freaking. I really like the look of in the Matrix in the second one when Neo flies and he freaking has to like charge up and the world around him like bubbles and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the Revelations, it's end of Reloaded. He's flying to catch Trinity like fast as he can, and he's going so fast that cars and buildings are just destroying behind him. And just the thing about like flying that fast, because I mean like Neo. That's a cool aspect.
I'm glad that you brought that up, dude, because the Matrix, man, who brings up that when we're talking about Marvel? That's fucking, like, people forget about the Matrix, dude.
I don't, man. I've watched that. That's one of the movies I could watch all the time.
I definitely, I haven't seen the second and the third one in a long time, dude.
Go do yourself a favor and go back. They're really good. Like, watch them all in succession. I mean, but it's really good. Like, at the end of Revelations, it's like Dragon Ball Z. When he's fighting Agent Smith, they're flying around, fighting each other. It looks like a Dragon Ball Z battle.
So
man.
now I can't really relate because I didn't watch Dragon Ball Z when I was a kid.
Oh my god!
I know my buddy over here is a big Dragon Ball Z guy.
Atlanta. Okay,
bro, I'm talking about like
what did you watch when you were a kid? Did you watch any anime at all?
Go ahead, Tom.
Sailor Moon.
Honestly, you know what?
I mean, it's not bad.
That's one of my first animes.
Young
Dragon
boy.
Ball Z and Sailor Moon were on Toonami, and I would watch that.
When I was a
Tuxedo
young
Mask.
boy.
I used to have a tuxedo mask button that I got from a customer, and
Tuxedo Mask, bro. I was such a romantic when I was a young kid. I just loved that. Like,
he was a loser. Like, that show was a feminist show. He freaking came in, barely did anything. Tuxedo Mask.
Yeah,
and
he
would disrupt what was going on, and then he would fly off.
Bro, but he was cool as shit. Bro, he would just
sorry, no, he wasn't.
Dude, he would pull out that mask. He'd be like, he had that little bit of mystery, right? He would just kind of like, bro, I'm telling you right now, like when I was fucking.
If you want good anime, man, watch G Gundam. That is the best anime. It's got mech, it's got anime aspects, it's got fan service, it's got so many things, and it's just the most badass anime show.
What's it called?
G Gundam. It's Mobile Suit G Gundam. And it's most of the time just called G Gundam. It's an older show. It was made, I want to say like late 80s, early 90s, man. So it's all drawn animation. So it's frame by frame by frame by frame. So it's not super hard to watch, but it's slower than other ones. So you have to respect it for the voice acting. Like if you ever think about Dragon Ball Z, like screaming is oh man, like my friend and I, we love this show and we freaking will quote stuff all the time. But he's always yelling people's name. Freaking Master, Kyoji, Rain. And he's so emotional. That voice actor, he should win an Oscar for his voice acting in that alone. But it's such a great show. Like I said, it's got everything that you want. If you want fan service, it's got nice looking anime chicks to look at.
So I'm going to be honest, like for the same reason, like what you said with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah,
that's Batman, right?
Yep.
That's kind of what I want.
Yes.
Like when I'm looking for TV.
Yes, I am Batman.
Like why do they make him want to? Why do you have to growl?
Oh, because that was all Christian Bale, man. Because have you ever seen the Michael Keaton movies? He started that. Michael Keaton started the I'm Batman. Like it was subtle, but
they were like, you can't
change.
just talk in your Bruce Wayne voice.
George Clooney, Val Kilmer had a slight change. George Clooney, worst Batman ever.
Worst Batman,
and he knows it too. He knows it. He's like, he won't even go to cons
because even care.
People are gonna throw tomatoes at your ass because.
But that was a fun movie.
It was good. I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I don't know if it was good, but it was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Oh man, I don't
know.
It
had colors,
nostalgia.
I'd
still watch
Joker.
Somebody's like, you throw in Batman and Robin.
But if you're a connoisseur of movies and you're sitting down, you're watching, you're like, this
horrible.
is a terrible movie. But
they get so many facts wrong in that one.
It's just a bad movie.
What killed the dinosaurs?
It looks Disney. It just looks props.
It's Joel Schumacher. That's the director. So he took over after Tim Burton. So he took over the Val Kilmer one. Joel Schumacher is the reason why there's all those big freaking statues and Gotham and everything like that big, like that, all that bigness of Gotham and just like crazy
Bane
artistry.
looked dumb as fuck.
He actually got it right though. He's actually
It looked like
pretty
a comic
accurate.
book, but I like the Bane from that dude. Like
no,
I think
I hate the Tom Hardy Bane.
I think
I'm
Dark
sorry.
Knight nailed it on the head because they take this comic book and they turn it into an adult R-rated movie.
So that's cool, but Bane is also supposed to be like 6'6"
and a Mexican luchador.
Yeah, not a 5'7" British dude.
What?
Yeah, it was dark.
Welcome to my madness.
I was raised.
I was molded by the darkness.
molded by him.
Bro, but
I love Tom Hardy. Don't get me wrong.
But the vibe and the feeling that it created in that Dark Knight series was so much darker. The other one was like a cartoon version. Maybe it got, and I guess that's
You need to read comics, dude.
that's what the comics are, is a cartoon.
There's dark Batman stories, man.
I just saw the new Harley Quinn, and I really fucked with it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah,
I heard bad reviews. I didn't watch it.
But I'm kind of like, I just want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And it hit all the marks. It was fun.
So
I enjoyed it.
That's the last Star Wars movie for me. It's like, it was fun, it was entertaining, there was big stuff was going on and stuff, but the story was shit.
That's what I heard.
It was shit. And so, but if you want an awesome, fun thing
Visuals,
to watch,
just
go watch that movie.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome. It's a fun ride.
That's the review I needed.
But it's not. It's trying to pick up the pieces that the last movie fricked up. Man, The Last Jedi just like.
Oh, I love that movie.
Disney for appointing a different director at the time, I think, was the wrong move. Like, to have somebody who had their own free rights to how it goes, it's just like they just destroyed each other's movies. And then I'm trying to remember the main director that directed the actual good one. That's what's the Force Unleashed, or no, that's a video game.
No, what was it? Was that the first one?
What's the first
Driver?
one? Yeah, the Adam Driver. The first one, the very first one. It's called the.
What was the one
I'm
where they
on
all
it.
die in the end?
That was actually not associated. That
Yeah,
was
what was that?
Rogue.
Rogue.
Rogue One.
That one's like an in between,
That
dude.
one's fun.
That's a good movie too. Like,
Well, I like that it's an expendable type of movie. That
it's
it's
a
just
very
like you
forgettable.
Can,
So was Solo. So that Rogue was way better than Solo.
oh,
in my opinion.
I couldn't even get through Solo.
Really?
I turned it off.
I
yeah.
thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was, it was a fun watch, but I used to watch this guy. His name was Jamie Costa, and you might know him. He was viral for a little bit as the guy who was really good at imitating Robin Williams. So when Robin died, he blew up on the viral scene as being like, you would watch his video and it would look just like he would
sound just
exactly. I mean, do Miss Doubtfire, he do all these different accents that he does, and
like him.
you're just
missed that.
you're like, holy crap, Robin Williams. And he made a fan-made Han Solo show. He really wanted to be Han Solo. He tried out for that movie, didn't get the part, but
They're like, you sound like him. You can do it, but you can't act for
he was
shit.
fucking dude. He was pretty much
Or maybe you didn't look the part.
he was a better. What was the original Han Solo's actor?
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford. He was a better Harrison Ford than probably what they were looking for, because he was a Harrison Ford. Like, he was an imitator, so he was really good at emulating.
Harrison Ford, though. See, the thing about Hollywood is they just need somebody dashingly handsome. They don't care how good of a Han Solo you can play. They need you to fucking be able to rock that open chest.
Right.
You know, they need to be able to have a little sweaty chest out, dude. when you're going through that Millennium Falcon, about to pop it into fucking hyperdrive, dude. And they need to be able to
12
see
parsecs.
They need to see that little sweat.
Fastest in the galaxy.
Fast in the Galaxy, dude.
Yeah, bro. I mean, I was
What
like
are they-
Chewie, dude. Chewie was fucking.
14 parsecs. It's 12 parsecs. That was an actual good one. It was. I can't even remember what was the first Star Wars movie that they came out called.
The Force Awakens.
Force Awakens. I don't know why. What's the Force Unleashed?
That's the video game.
Yeah, but it's is it Star Wars? Is it the one with Darth Vader's apprentice, like his clone apprentice that he got? Okay,
Yeah, that's Force Unleashed.
So what's the new
Star
video
Killer.
game?
Let's.
This is a brand new
that
one,
Disney
right?
stole the name. Their Star Killer base was
There's a new
his.
game that's like Dark Souls or some shit. Someone said.
Oh,
that's like
so Dark Souls. We were talking about that. It's called Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
is what it's called.
That's the new one?
It's a savage game. I got through it.
It's isn't it the kid from Shameless?
Yep. No, it's
Ian.
Was it, no, I thought it was
I
the
think
kid.
it is the kid from Shameless.
Shameless?
Yeah.
Ian, yeah, from Shameless.
Sure it is.
Yeah.
Why did I think it was the kid that played the young Joker?
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the same
guy?
kid. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
He did a
talented.
good Joker.
Did you know that we have a famous kid that comes into our shop? Freaking, he was a child star on How My Name Is Earl. He comes in.
You told me about this.
He's got really curly hair and he looks like a hipster, super hipster guy.
And he wears like a scarf sometimes that looks like Harry Potter.
Some kind
I think I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, he was on My Name Is
And he
Earl.
has glasses?
Yeah, and he was a child star, and he just comes in.
I'm gonna go back and watch
he
this
gets
show
certain
now.
things.
I'm gonna find him.
I've only watched it a few times.
I love that show.
Really?
Yeah, I love because it has the big dude from Butterfly Effect. Remember that guy? Remember that big dude?
Exactly. But he's super skinny now.
Yeah.
Super, he's yacked,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah,
He's
bro.
huge.
You know, he's been doing it like the Big Show from WWF.
Same
if you
thing?
ever see him now, he's not like big and like just like behemoth. He's like jacked.
Really?
So this 7 foot jacked.
Because these dudes got to do this like image for like a for the show.
If
and
they're
shit,
not,
but
if you're not exercising, you're not strengthening your bones. It's probably good for them to do that because, like their bodies grow really fast, so like their bones are really rigid and stuff because they have to hold up a lot of weight because they don't develop as fast as the body grows. So like that's what killed Andre the Giant. He had so many back problems and like stuff from wrestling and stuff because his body was grown faster than his bones did, so he was really weak all
dude,
the
what
time.
was like? How did that guy become so big in just physically? I don't
Genetic
Giantism.
abnormalities, yeah.
crazy, dude. To be like, how tall is Andre? Or where'd you find
7'2"?
out? I heard you say shit.
Oh,
over
no,
there.
I was just looking at the picture of what he's talking about, the Big Show, and I wish I could show you guys. It's fucking ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Like it looks from some portly fat guy, turned into some dude who's chiseled with an 8-pack. Like,
Bro,
literally.
it's the Hulk, man.
Dude, we'll see if we can get
Scary,
get the
man.
homie to throw a picture up on that for us.
Like a side-by-side one.
Yeah.
But like Jonah Hill,
Oh,
like dude,
back
you
and
remember
forth.
him?
That guy fluctuated. He's unhealthy.
That's got to be
man.
unhealthy. Do you remember when Christian
Unhealthy.
Bale went?
That skinny? Christian Bale's a good actor too.
Who was another one?
He's
Matthew
a method
McConaughey.
actor. Matthew McConaughey.
When he did the Dallas Buyers Club and he had to go down to just like AIDS skinny. Oof, bro, that's got to be unhealthy. That's got to be unhealthy because, I don't know if you've seen
Which actors do you think smokes the most weed?
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Seth Rogen. I would say.
What about secret? So we know like the mainstream, like
closet
closet smokers. Like who do you think smokes more weed? Joaquin Phoenix, George Clooney, or Johnny Depp?
Oh, Johnny Depp.
You think Johnny
for
Depp?
Sure.
I think
dude.
Johnny Depp's doing like harder shit.
But I think I think people that do harder shit
Have to
they just smoke weed too.
You know why? Because of withdrawals, man. Because of that caryophyllene, dude. Caryophyllene is it's also a cannabinoid, man. And it activates with the CB2 receptors found in your muscle and your skin. And that's why it helps with withdrawals, dude. It's 10 times more better than Suboxone. Like, to go back to like, shit, dude, we were just on a freaking just entertaining
That's
podcast, but
perfect.
straight up
Yeah.
freaking Ethan Russo, man, that guy's taught me so much. And like I found that guy. He's a Washington resident. Fucking live. I don't know if he still lives in Olympia, but I know he did. And he goes around and he has weed talks and he makes weed really easy to learn. So every time I fucking recommend somebody who's like wants to learn, Dr. Ethan Russo talks about terps, talks about cannabinoids. He's the one, and he's like, dude, if we would just get caryophyllene and extract that and get it somehow like in a form that we could give to outpatients or like inpatient people that are going in for rehab and stuff like that, their withdrawals would be decreased like crazy, and then they wouldn't be going through this massive time frame of going the willpower. Because like when I went off drugs, because I didn't know this till I became a weed connoisseur. As soon as I got off pills, withdrawals, I started drinking again, but I started smoking weed again. And I went cold turkey. I didn't go to
On the
rehab.
pills?
I didn't go rehab or nothing. I lost all my friends that was doing that stuff. I got back with my old friends that weren't doing that stuff. I started smoking weed and drinking beer. And
Just
I
shifted.
didn't, I mean, maybe, I'm sure I had withdrawals. It's a long time now, but most of the time is because of the weed, dude. It's because of the weed.
So for the people who don't know, or for the people who know a little bit but don't know enough, what is a terpene?
A terpene is the smell that comes off a plant. It's the essential oil. So like off any plant, you smell like a flower, you smell a pine tree. That's the chemical compound on the plant. Most of the time, it's an insecticide, or it's its own defense mechanism. So when you like shake, like when you really like come to a live plant, and you want to smell that thing, like actually like come up to it, you give it a little shake. Because when I used to grow weed and I want to smell my Dutch, I would shake it a little bit, and it would start stinking.
So kind of like pollen a little
because
bit.
it's like, get the fuck away from me. I don't, I'm putting this smell off because it's supposed to be deterrent to other bugs and stuff. So it's its natural defense mechanism. But to us, we like that. And that on a chemical level is changing the way our body reacts. So our body, we smell that, our body's receptor gets activated. It accordingly acts to what we give it. So I always commonly describe it like when you go out into a forest, you can be out in the forest and you're like,
fuck, you smell, dude.
Clear, your mind feels focused, calm.
Many smells.
You just think about so many thoughts. You just feel like, man, I could get so much shit done out here. I just feel, you go running. You just like, man, I want to be out here. That's why people like going camping. It's the pine trees, man. The pine trees are putting off that pinene, and you're inhaling that, and it's giving you that focus, that clarity. That's why when you're offering somebody a sativa, that they want something not as high energetic, they want something focused, something they can fucking do stuff on, go for a high pinene strain, something that's putting out like ChemDog or fucking
no shit. So when people go that's one of the reasons that people really love camping, is because
their body is being changed chemically by the trees, the stuff around you, the plants. Like when you smell the flowers, that's why people are like, the smells, I'm calmed and relaxed. It's the linalool, man. That's what it's meant for, is to relax you, calm you. It's used as a sleep aid. It's science, man.
So how many terpenes are there? Is it just
over
unlimited?
100? Over 100. Like there's hundreds of different. I mean, there's different plants. Like there's probably plants that we don't even know about in jungles and stuff, and have terpenes. There's even terpenes that burn off at smaller temperatures. And when they make live resin and stuff like that, and you freeze that plant and you pull it out and you smell that plant that's frozen in there, and those little tiny smells that you're getting off are terpenes that you would never smell at any other time, because they burn off at such a low temperature.
So that's the big benefit of a live resin,
because more terps.
And so what are the most popular terpenes? Caryophyllene,
myrcene, pinene, terpinolene. Terpinolene should be in everything, man. Like if you're making a car, that's terpin. Because like I said, like how they make cartridges and stuff like that. They
you can just drop it in there.
They make a recipe. So like I said, all plants make these terpenes. It's cheaper to get other plants' terpenes than if you don't have your own means to collect terpenes and stuff like that.
Like the specific
from the plant. Exactly. So you can make the cannabinoids happen, but you can buy other terpenes off that are safe to smoke. They're food grade. They're you can smoke them. So they take a bud, they throw it to a scientist. He gets the terpene analysis back, gives it to you. You have those terpenes straight up. Most common ones, like you said, linalool, myrcene, caryophyllene, pinene, but there's different smells, like sweet, like beta smells. Beta pinene and stuff is more sweeter than alpha pinene, which is a lot more earthier and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit more sour. Dude, there's delta. Dude, like if you look on the back, you'll see like Neuronidol. You'll see all these weird terps that you're like, what is that? And I haven't took my time to research on all of the terpenes, but the main ones that like pinene and limonene. Limonene's a big one. That's the citrus one. Limonene is always energy. Like when you smell, like when
so
you're
that's like super lemon haze.
When you're cleaning your house, like usually you're using citrus products and stuff like that. You're just like, man, my house is clean. I feel good. Like I just got shit done. Like that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to uplift you, happy. You're supposed to feel really good. That's why people love citrus strains, because it makes you feel that way.
So and then so what is what's the mango one?
A myrcene.
That's the couch lock?
Yep. Couch lock terp. Exactly. So back to Dr. Ethan Russo. He calls myrcene. That's what I talk to everybody. Couch lock terpene. If anybody's like, what's sativa? Which one's up and always in the couch? Indica in the couch.
So what are like good strains with myrcene? Do you know?
Oh, I mean, anything. Berry White's the first one that comes to mind.
Okay.
Any like apricot or tangy strain, something like that is gonna.
We got that orange apricot. That orange apricot,
that
bro.
mimosa that you like, man.
Oh, that's got it in there.
Clementine, freaking.
So,
But I mean, just because it's an indica doesn't mean, or just be, a sativa, like tangy strains. There can be tangy strains that are sativa, but they have that skunky sweet, but there might be a little bit more to it. It's just which one's terpenes
like
are more
lemon
dominant.
skunk. It seems like lemon skunk gives.
For the longest time, you think skunk, you think in the couch. So, but and when I describe myrcene, I describe it as the skunky terp. But skunk number 1 was raised as a sativa. And there's probably a lot more citrus that comes in with lemon, because I think lemon skunk is more like skunk number 1s than anything else. Like it's probably another
more than lemon.
It's probably a phenotype off of skunk number 1 or something like that, because plants are really weird, man. Like that's when people are like, oh, I want the land race, untouched strain, pure sativa, and you're like, it can't be that because of science, because somebody has taken that person's strain. They got a clone of that person's strain. They've taken it, even if it's off the same mom plant that's been alive for years. You're going to take that plant. Let's say you get 6 of those plants. Even like getting the seeds. Let's say you freaking get off seeds. Like some of those plants are either going to be male or they're going to be female, and they're going to have different terpene profiles. And I also have a theory is if you're growing them in the same room with different strains and they're more pungent than they're going to dominate for terpene smell. Like they're going to fight each other on who's the smelliest. Because like when I first got ACDC is not an incredible smelly plant. It kind of smells spicy. It has a little bit of citrus and pine, but not a lot. I put it in the room with the Dutch treat, dude. It fought for supremacy, man. That stuff stank. And it was a CBD plant. And you knew it too, like, because when you smoked it, it's a way different feel. Because when I worked at the Valley, Devin's husband, Jason, loved my ACDC. I used to freaking get him jars of it, and I would bring him in, and we'd go out to the parties, and we'd roll up ACDC. We'd smoke blunts, ACDC.
I bet that was I bet that was the best. Having a little CBD in there.
Man, have you really even got to experience like a party yet or anything? I have. Like going.
Not as like not like working in the industry, but I've been to a lot of parties like before.
No, I mean like just a cinder one.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Just industry parties I've been to, but no, I haven't been to like one. Oh,
you've just been like getting in on it, like
just getting in.
That's cool. That's cool.
People are just like,
if you know people, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's like at the Tech 9 concerts, man. Like people, you get into freaking VIP and stuff like that. But
oh, bro, I know.
I didn't get any.
Like you guys did the
industries
Canna Olympics. Like that was.
Have you not gotten into that yet?
I didn't get to go to that. I like right when I started. You guys were doing that.
And then right after that, I quit smoking weed for like a month.
Yeah, you need to after that.
And oh man, like the hardships that you had to do in that thing, man, were insane. Let me break it down. So it was like there wasn't a lot. So it kind of sucked because a lot of people that were supposed to help out a lot with that kind of didn't show up. And what happened? So that you just had like little waiting spots. So where an event was supposed to be, it was just kind of, you just had to wait until somebody got done with something. But there was like this 7-foot bong. It was like it was a big ass bong, and you had to clear it, like how fast you could clear it. And the one time your bowl piece. So we did that one. It was Roy. So or a guy that I know. He was my he was my teammate, and we had one more, but he had other obligations, so he couldn't be there, unfortunately. So it was me and him were against, and there was teams of 3 on everything. So we had to do that. I will say that we finished 4th, and by the end of the night, Roy
You try not to say names?
Just trying.
I don't know why not.
You're
fine, dude. You're
but
fine.
Still, it's just kind of like you never know how people feel.
Roy's gonna be listening to this.
I wanted him to be here.
I messaged him. I said
he couldn't.
I said, come.
He said he was filling out stuff, like he had marriage stuff to do. So,
oh, okay.
So yeah,
He's got a
yes, congratulations. He's got a real good reason.
Since we dropped his name a million times, Roy.
I'm sorry,
congratulations,
Roy. I love you. But we freaking kicked ass, man. You got an 1/8 of weed and a full guard to smoke throughout the night. You just had to get through
So
it.
you had to smoke that.
Yes, we just ate the weed because we were just like, fuck smoking this. We just ate the weed, the both of us, munched down super fast. It was easier than you think. And then we had this cart, and I had my trusty freaking battery here that goes up crazy amount of watts, and those carts are rated probably 8 watts or something like that. I'm at like 12, 13, just
Pushing them beyond their limits.
just roasting the shit out of this cart. Most people, like, dude, like, I mean, no, like, putting off anything. Females can out smoke, out drink any guy, man. Like, Sharon, oh shit. and Nat were the killers. They were also on a 2 team. And they fucking were killers. They got through their stuff like nobody's business. They
and so you guys were like, and you guys were having to clear what
beer bongs. Then we played Mario Kart, and we had to, before we did our 2 runs, we had to run, do a lap, then we had to smoke 2 half-gram joints. Smoke them at the same time, like getting through this thing, just going fast as I can, and then getting back up on doing this thing. And we're like, your body can only absorb so much THC. Go back to the science. So people taking like 2 gram dabs, you're wasting it because your body can only absorb so much THC at one time. And your body's just going to be like, okay, there's only so much I can put out. It's there because more science, your body produces cannabinoids as well as the plant. So it's not the same cannabinoids because we have an endogenous cannabinoid system. It's called the endocannabinoid system.
Okay.
Our body produces similar cannabinoids, but they're not the same. So our body, we smoke these, our body is going, okay, I'm getting these cannabinoids. There's some reason my body has these, so I must be needing them. So they produce these chemicals, and depending how fast it gets to, because it has some inflammation, it's tickling that receptor. It's getting it to work for it. Man, I totally veered off. What was it? We were talking about that. Okay, so anyway, we were back at the Can Olympics, so you can only absorb so much THC. So body produces cannabinoids, only produce so much. Body can only do it. So we're getting high, we're fucking smoking. There's a couple spots we're waiting. There's another spot where we have to sit, and you get points for doing little nuances,
for doing the things,
going above and beyond. So like there's this pool of ice, and if you get in the ice and you sit in it and stuff like that, you get extra points and stuff. You have to chug this Slurpee, like
in the ice.
Oh, in the ice. So you're cold all around. I think Roy and I sat on our knees, so that was, I think technically you got the extra points for that. So we were freaking chugging this Slurpee back and forth. Then at the very end, they bust out these props. Now you're going to have to do some scenario. You're going to have to act a little bit.
What?
Yes. After you're all messed up and whatever. I think you were allowed to drink too. But that was like your own discretion. There were some people that were drunker than others there.
That wasn't in the...
Yes. Yeah. It wasn't in the required thing to do.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to get litty, that was okay. Because we were in a safe spot. Oh, excuse me. That soda's coming back. Excuse me. So we had to do an acting thing. So we drew out of these hats, and you got a scenario. I luckily got English dubbed anime scenario or something like that. I had to come up with some English anime thing. So
oh yeah, I heard about those.
Roy is sitting next to me, and I'm like thinking this out. I'm thinking of his part. I'm thinking of my part. I'm not the biggest planner or director or anything like that. But I know he probably doesn't watch as much anime as I do. So I'm getting on. He's like, man, my girl's here. I got to go. And I'm like, we got one more thing. I'm like, you serious? And he's like, yeah, I gotta go. I'm ready to go. And so he leaves me. So I'm a team of 1 now. So they're like, what was our team? Because we were punk. We were dressed up like punk kids.
Yeah, I remember this.
We were Bleeding Green. That was our band name. Our team. We were Bleeding Green. And so I get up there, and I think I still got long hair at this time. And I make some freaking thing up that we're... So my premise was we were a band, and we wanted to impress these girls so they would date us. And what we had to do is we had to go and learn with all these different masters that differently, the guitar master, drum master, and all this stuff. So I had to go around, and there was this secret notebook that fell in our hands that was the map to all of these masters. And we weren't very good or anything like that. And so I had to explain this whole premise to everybody before I acted it out.
Yeah.
And then I acted this whole thing out, and I got 4th freaking place, man.
By yourself.
By myself.
That's
like,
fucking badass, dude.
Yeah. Chat.
Canna Olympics.
Cade and Shane and Spitz won first.
Oh, they did?
Yep.
Dude, they got to make that like this needs to be
There's
in the
like
real
a
Olympics.
plaque. I think there's a plaque now, like for Canna Olympics, and like the winners. Your name.
If this becomes a real thing, like, you know, we got to make sure that the right people get credit.
Yeah.
For creating the real Canna Olympics.
Real Canna
You
Olympics,
heard it
right?
here first.
Cinder mother.
Dude. So, like, kind of just to bring a full circle, like, how important are terpenes in cannabis?
They're important.
It's like if you're going up and you're buying, like, especially if you're putting terpenes versus like THC percentages.
So they're everything. So if you get just pure distillate or pure THCA crystals or something like some wizard stones or whatever you're getting, oleum, and they have wizard stones. Freaking Mammoth has their isolate. They just call Mammoth isolate, and it's just pure THCA, and they make that in a freaking jar, man. So they take a jar. And I'm sure it's probably way more scientific, but you can literally blast it in a jar, seal that thing up tight, and put it in a dark place, cold, dark place. That gas is going to evaporate. It's going to get somewhere, and all of a sudden, the THC starts crystallizing with the gas, and then it creates these THCA stones because you've blasted all the cannabinoids in there. There's no waxes or anything like that live there. There's no heat. You just blasted it with straight solvents, so you're not activating any of the THC in the bud. There's a little bit, like when you see like on the back of like GLW's labels and it says 0.3% THC on there. That's because the analytics came back that during the cure process, 0.3% of the THCA has converted to THC through the curing process. Some of it does convert because like it goes through, like I saw one of the like Delta 8 and Delta 9. Like I just figured out a bunch about stuff like that too. But shit, where was I just at?
You're just talking about the
terpenes and how important.
You're just talking about the crystallizing.
Oh,
isolate.
And so you grow these stones, like how you grow crystals, they grow. So as this thing evaporates, these things grow. Freaking oleum's got like, they've grown like 90 freaking 6-gram stones, man. Like a rock.
What?
Thanos sized stone that fits in your thing. They can't sell that stuff. They can't.
Because you can't.
Because it's full of solvents still. Because none of that really evaporated out too much. So that's why they have to bust up the rocks, is because there's so much butane still left inside of there that it's way above the ppms that you can sell it to somebody. So, I mean, you could have a private auction to somebody or something like that. But, other than that, legally, it has to be broken up to the ppms are not able for you to, to inhale something that's harmful to you. Because Washington's really good. They go after.
Thank God for regulations.
Because California has the strictest regulations, and Washington farms just go off of that. Because I still don't think Washington has serious enough regulations. Actually, I haven't looked them up in a while, but I know California is like under 1,000 ppm. I think I remember Washington.
What's a ppm?
Parts per million. So that's just how the measurement of the level of solvents left inside of the oil. So when you're smoking weed through a pipe and a lighter, you're getting 10,000s of ppms of butane that you're sucking in.
All sorts of shit.
So like anybody asks if they're like, oh, that's dirty, or there is more butane that if you're smoking out of a pipe and lighter, you're sucking in more butane than you're out of any of those carts, because they are purging those carts. They're doing what they call a distillation. So they're purging all of the ethanol, all of the butane. They're running it in a rotovap, and it's just called a rotovapory, and it sits in this this flask, and it's the oil, and it's like 80 degrees or something like that. I need some more drinking water or something. Something. This will do. I might need another DP, man. Dr. Pep. Gracias, senor.
Okay, I'm good. All right. right, a shot from my friend, Mr. Zinkgraf.
Zinkgraf. You know, that's German. Man.
Oh, okay.
I'm German. I'm 3/4 German, and the rest is Welsh, Irish, and native.
Have you been to Germany?
No, but that was one of my things. Jack and I were supposed to go to Europe this summer. That was what we were saving for, and then slapped with the pandemic and the lockdown happened. 2020, shout out. Next time when you hear about this, if you're listening to this like in the future, 2020 was very uneventful. Uneventful. There was some shit going down. I'm sorry for all that were affected, but I have not, knock on wood, met somebody that has been affected by the disease, except for a few people's stories. And you know somebody who's affected by it, correct?
I think I knew somebody who knew somebody.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
One of my best friends in Tri-Cities, recovered from it.
So I'm shout out to that, but I mean it's a very weird time that we're living in.
It's very strange.
Come on, Trump, give us another check.
We need another check, bro. I didn't know if we were gonna get one, man. I don't feel like I deserve.
We
it
ain't getting a
'cause I've been
second
working.
one. Fuck, man.
You know what I mean? I've been working. And
We pay so much money to. You know what, dude? We pay way too much in taxes. They take all of our freaking money, man.
They do
Anytime
take a
we
lot of
get
money.
some kind of extra cheddar, they're like, "Ha, give us some extra cheddar." It's like, shit, man. They spend all their money on weapons and everything else. Sorry, we're getting.
Yeah. We're
But
gonna get out of the weeds. We're gonna get out of the weeds, guys.
But
Actually, what I'm really interested.
yeah,
is,
yeah.
I'm interested in this refine that you got. Just
Yeah, you wanna
kinda
take a dab, dude?
Casually hanging out here.
Like we just got it chilling. I was taking a dab in here, but here we can throw in the hammer. You know they call these
hammer.
They call these gavels. They're
Oh, that's a gavel.
this
Like
is
you
a-
just fucking.
This is a gavel banger, man.
So what's up with is it porcelain or something on
Quartz.
the bottom?
Oh, they call that opaque.
Oh, okay.
Opaque is just it's supposed to heat up faster and hold heat longer.
Okay.
That's why that is.
So, because one of the things I wanted to ask you was,
What's up?
what does somebody need to start dabbing?
Start dabbing?
Someone who's like,
Oh yeah.
because it seems like a lot of moving parts.
So I mean, kind of. I mean, you first need a dab tool, which can be many things. You can get something easy. You want to get something good. I mean, this is a simple $40 piece. Like, this ain't blown by somebody or anything like that. This is machine made. I'm not sure how they made it, but a lot of they're mass produced, is what I should say. The gavel bangers, I think these ones that we bought are mass produced as well. There's some like ones by Yo Dabba Dabba, and like, or if you buy like hand blown ones by people, dude, you're gonna pay like 50, 60 like plus dollars on like but that bangers, and you're gonna be able to drop it on the ground and it's gonna be legit. Like there's some people, like shout out to Crondo, he's over in it's a city, it starts with a C. It's there's Colville. I think you're right. I think because there's a Sativa Sisters over there, and I think
or Colbert, one of the two.
I think it's Colville.
Okay.
But he's over there and he builds such strong pieces, and he's got these perks that are crazy. So there, it's not like a down stem that goes into it. He creates like it's all one piece, and it like the banger fits into it, and then it comes down and it's like a bubble, and at the bottom there's these little tiny holes. And what happens is, the way the science of this thing goes, the bubbles go down and it goes in a rotation like this. So as the bubble you suck in, the bubbles are going like this, so you never get any spill in your mouth.
Oh,
so he's created
beautiful.
like, I don't think he's created it, but he has this technique
He's kind of mastered how to
where it doesn't, you don't get that spillage in your mouth.
So
like,
what is this? This is a recycler?
It is a recycler. And so all that means is it's trying to do that. It's trying to, usually when you're having bubbles and stuff and you're not having constant water. So it's basically trying to give you fresh water every time. You're recycling the water.
okay.
It's a concept, but I mean, if you're not changing out your water all the time, it's not
You're still
fresh.
fucking recycling dirty fucking
But
water.
if you're cleaning out your banger and you're using good freaking oil, like the stuff we have from Refined here.
What do we got?
So I brought White Tahoe cookies, I bought Gelato 33, and I bought the LSD from Royal Tree.
I heard that shit is amazing.
Which is not lemon sour diesel. It's just called LSD. It's a Mazar skunk #1 cross.
Can I bust it open and smell it?
Smell them. And you know what's great about refined? Extracted. Extracted is the extractors. They've been around since the medical days. So they helped shape the I-502. Yeah, I was looking at these guys. They've been around for a long time. So like this is the creme de la creme. You like Cold Smoke, you get Sub X and stuff like that. Like these guys, they're doing something. They're making this is just BHO. This is just hydrocarbon freaking stuff. So they're doing it at a low temp, at a certain pressure. That's all they're doing.
Stinks like weed.
They captured the essence. Like, I mean, this one isn't super smelly. It's the White Tahoe, but it's you just get it.
I really like that.
Smell that gelato,
that
man.
LSD is.
It smells smelly, earthy, stinky. I love it. And they capture it. And then shout out to GLW, to my man Fred. He gets refined to extract some of his black market extract, and they do a collab all the time.
Amazing.
Best shit. I mean, Royal Tree is one of my favorite farms, but GLW is always got my number one just because of they're my first farm tour. I'm kind of a little opinionated towards them, but
biased, yeah.
But
because but they also are like pesticide free, and they just take a lot of pride in their
so much pride, and they're old boy. Like that's why I like them the most, is because they remind me of the olden days. Like, but they're humble, so they're like, we know our shit, but they're fucking humble. GLW does so many things for the weed community. They will put on events. They will sponsor. Like they are, and they're getting up to tier 3, man. They're making an outdoor farm now.
So they're growing and just getting bigger.
They're going to be producing. Oh man.
Yeah,
Fred's killing it, dude. Fred is killing it. They make their own tea, and his freaking Kevin, right?
Not sure.
Oh, it's Kevin. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, it's Kevin. But he's freaking. He used to work for Spokane Organics, and then he went over. I didn't even make 2 and 2 together, but when I was growing weed with my homie, freaking, that's where we would go, and we buy Roots Organic freaking soil, and we buy all of our stuff there, and they always hook us up with a discount. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together, and then freaking we were at a party, and he's like, dude, that's freaking this, and introducing, and I'm just like, no fucking way, fucking smallest freaking world ever,
bro.
dude.
And I mean, when we live in a big small town. That's what this place is,
right?
It's a big small town.
Dude, thank you, because that's exactly how I describe this to people. People say the city of Spokane. I'm like, no. We are a big town. We are we are a city that is comprised of little towns: Verdell, Browns Addition, South Hill, North Side, Liberty Lake, the Valley, Millwood. There's just and they all have their own mayors and city halls and shit. Like, well, I think Millwood has their own city hall, but Verdell, I think, is just bunked in with the
Spokane
Valley.
Yeah.
Dude,
But how it's broken off, I mean, really though, it is just with the communities and stuff. It's so much different. Just even like the east side of division on the north side versus the west side of division. Like it's just
it's just like going to Liberty Lake, and you're like, this is part of Spokane.
Completely different place.
Completely. That is a community of rich, wealthy people who keep their place spick and span.
They're building the wall and putting gates up and staying.
Man.
They got curfews, I think. Like you're not allowed to be out there on
real
certain
shit.
parts of time.
When I was a carpet cleaner, we would clean the Liberty Lake police department. We cleaned all the fire departments around Spokane, in the valley, not the north side or anything like that. But in the city hall, I would clean inside the places, but they had plans out for cannabis and glass. Almost was in Liberty Lake. Dude, then, I think they're out on state line or something like that, but they couldn't be. I think they got voted out or something like that, but I think they were going to be right in Liberty Lake, which would have been freaking crazy huge.
But like Liberty Lake is just super. They have like their own little
community.
Are they? Yeah, I don't know anything about like if they have their own.
There's a mayor. There's own police
all that
system there. Liberty Lake Police. Yeah. They're like their own city. Their own little town. Like I said.
Is there a lake over there?
Yeah, a big lake. I used to live on it when I was a kid. Freaking my dad, he rented out the beach house from these rich ass people, and so it was literally a living room. There was a tiny little kitchen. It was in the living room. There was a bedroom. So there was his room, and he had a bed. I think he had like a double. I don't think he didn't have a big bed. I remember that when we were living there. Josh and I slept on the couch. The shower was in a closet, so it had a closet door. You'd open this closet door and it'd be the shower.
What?
Yeah, the bathroom was separate from that. So, but it had everything. But when we woke up, we could just run down and jump in the lake. My dad, he had a jet ski. He had a Suzuki, or not Suzuki. It's a Sea-Doo, and it was I can't remember the grade it was. It was like an HY or something crazy like that. But it was a one person bike, so it was like really crazy. So I remember my dad was young and he used to do crazy shit. He would jump off wakes. I remember this one time he jumped off this wake and he went completely under the water. And I remember seeing him like going under the water and then just popping out of the freaking thing and just keep going.
That's fucking crazy.
It's some of the most savage
man,
times.
I don't even think I've ever really gone hard on a wave device like that before. I don't ever think I've really like.
Dude, I never rode too many of those, but like snowmobiles and stuff that was on land, I always rode everything. My dad was really good about having me. Like I was driving at a young age. Freaking, I had everything with an engine that you probably can think of that is civilian,
dirt bikes,
3-wheelers, dirt bikes, 4-wheelers, snowmobiles, go-karts, motorized scooters, cars, trucks. I mean, I've never driven a forklift or something like
Fuck
that.
a forklift.
But I'm saying like
I
something.
had 3-wheelers
something
and
you-
4-wheelers.
Dude, snowmobiles are the shit.
18-wheelers. You ever drove one of those?
I don't got my CDL.
Well, you didn't have your 3-wheelers license either, but
Right? Those are actually, you can't make those anymore. They're illegal. You can only buy them privately from people.
what was it? 2 wheels in the back, 1 in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tricycle, man. And
Yeah.
dude, I used to get wrecks on those things all the time.
Dude, what about the fucking like putting a little side cart on a motorcycle? That's kind of weird, right?
I mean, back in the day, I'm sure, but I mean, it's like it's more for attention, I think, nowadays than
like
actually like functionality.
like you're not gonna put anything but a little dog with a little dog helmet and little dog goggles in there.
No one's gonna want to ride in that seat.
That's just demoralizing for you to be a grown ass man.
So what?
Sitting in the fucking little, like look what they did to Robin.
Christopher Robin?
I mean, just like Robin, Batman's homie with the green tie, and they just throw him in the fucking little thing.
Man, that was back in the day. You watched
He didn't get a fair shot.
Chris O'Donnell, man. He was the best Robin. He was in the freaking Val Kilmer, Batman Forever, man. Go back and watch
that
Batman
was good.
Forever.
That was good because like. He played the dude that was like, George Clooney, okay.
No,
sexiest man
was
alive,
like-
but, fucking.
No, he played with Val Kilmer first. He was within
Oh, okay.
Batman Forever was
Beyond.
the first time.
Oh, Forever.
Forever.
So what was
Batman Beyond was an animated show. It was
That was the 90s,
Yeah.
the 90s animated
and,
show.
Shit.
I want to say is Miles McGinnis is his name. He becomes Batman because Bruce Wayne is an old ass man, and so he comes to Bruce Wayne.
That's Beyond?
Yeah, Batman Beyond. Yeah.
Everybody's going to be so confused. What part of Batman are we in right now? Are we in the part where Jay-Z's Batman and he's a billionaire?
Right. Well, if you remember like the old animated series Batman,
I fucking love that shit, dude.
Mark Hamill's the Joker and he's the most traditional, like iconic Joker.
Yep.
Well, those worlds are tied together. So like that's just in the future after Bruce Wayne is old and Alfred's dead.
Oh, okay.
He's fucking in the mansion by himself, and there's still stuff going down, but he's too old to be Batman. So he gets this high schooler kid. So it's kind of anime, and he becomes Batman. He gets this really cool Batmobile that flies and everything, and he gets rocket boots, and he can actually fly. This Batman can fly. He's got rocket boots, and he's got freaking.
See, that's badass.
Yeah.
But it's still they stay constant with like it's an invention, it's possible, he's just rich, he's got rocket boots.
It's in the future.
Like this dude doesn't have fucking magical powers,
unlimited money, man.
He just got
Super smart.
He's Elon fucking Musk.
Pretty
That's
much.
What he is. Elon Musk probably has
He's
rocket
probably
boots
got
that he's
some
like,
kind of Alzheimer's.
I guarantee you that Elon Musk has rocket boots.
Or not
and he's
Alzheimer's, but what am I thinking of? Asperger's.
Like, oh, where you're
Is that what? No, is it Asperger's or is it where is it where you're like really super smart, but you're kind of autistic?
Oh, autistic. Yeah. Okay.
Excuse me. I'm not trying to be rude.
So you can like tell the future and shit.
That's psychic.
Oh yeah. But you're just like really smart. Like you can figure out like math equations. You can see numbers like outside of your head and shit. Like you can see, like fucking
like
Good Will Hunting.
Or freaking, I was thinking not William Shakespeare, but Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah,
that's a cool movie, man.
What was the Sherlock Holmes with Will Ferrell? Because that one sucked.
It was called Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, and it was,
that was so bad.
I never watched it because it's just why watch that.
Bro, I just watched Step Brothers and I was like, man, how could they make a bad movie? Like I was just watching Step Brothers. I was like, this is fucking hilarious.
They can't make it now.
And then I saw that they try to do that. I was like, wow, that was so off base.
Because it's later on, you can't do their comedy anymore, man.
Dude, they fucking killed, bro. I mean, it's crazy how it's gut wrenching hilarity. Like when they're like, can we make bunk beds? And I'm like, you're grown. Like you're grown.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
They're like, so is that a yes? It's like, you know what I mean? You just can't. Like that shit is just so good. Like when he goes up and puts his nuts on the drum set. Like, when he does the cattle, like where he can sing and he does like
I always quote that movie. I don't know. You don't say that.
Dude, it's so. Some things are just masterpieces. It's just perfect.
Is it a masterpiece or is it just two guys just acting like dill?
No, because they did it again and it was just two guys acting like dill holes. And this one is like you'll go back and you'll laugh.
The last one that was really good was the Talladega Nights. That one was pretty funny. You don't think so?
No, I'm laughing because I definitely thought so.
No, I mean Talladega Nights is another one that just consistently you could tears. We're talking just. Like, and I think a lot of it is that it's that deeper comedy where it makes you think a little bit. Maybe it's just the stupid shit too. I've been slaving over this dinner all night, and it's dominoes and shit, and you know what I mean, and the older man, and just like. You're just like, Jesus, can I get some respect? And then, you know what I mean? Like, these kids are winners, God damn it. Like, what
part is this? Is this Step Brothers still?
No, this is Talladega Nights when they're sitting at the dinner table. And it's like
it's been a grip.
I threw Uncle Grandpa Chip's war medals off a bridge.
The last thing I remember is that movie where he's like, are you making fun of me? I'm here and you're there with your two legs.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't walk.
You can't walk.
He's like, damn, Ricky Bobby, you can walk.
Dude,
and then Clark Duncan.
Rest in peace, man.
Oh, I know.
Dude,
R.I.P.,
he was amazing, dude. He was amazing. That movie was.
Don't you put that on me, Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, all the way up to Cal taking his wife, and he's calling him, trying to figure out how the TV and the sound and the.
You know what? One of his best roles was Kingpin. He played Kingpin, which is really cool, is because Kingpin is a white guy in the comic books, but he played.
What are you talking about? Woody Harrelson?
Michael Clark Duncan.
Who? What's his name? What's the comic name?
Kingpin.
Spider-Man.
Okay,
Mr. Spider-Man.
This is why I have an issue with it.
I'm thinking Kingpin, the movie with Woody Harrelson, where he got a hook and he bowling and shit.
No, bro.
Okay, no, he's a mob boss. He's like Batman. He's got unlimited money and he's a mob boss and he freaking uses people like other signs. He gets people to do his bidding for him, but he's a Daredevil boss mainly. Well, if you ever watched the Ben Affleck movie, where he plays Daredevil back in the day, that's Michael Clark Duncan. He plays Kingpin. He plays the bad guy in that movie.
Oh, okay.
And he hires it's not Deadshot. Who am I thinking of? Freaking Bullseye. Bullseye is his name. From he's like Deadshot. He can't miss. He freaking in that movie kills an old lady with a peanut by flicking it off a chair, and it goes in their throat, and she just chokes and dies.
Oh, who's the one that you just said?
His name's
Who's the other one? Was Will Smith?
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell plays it. So it's Ben Affleck, Colin Farrell, Michael Clark Duncan, and the guy that plays Cypher in The Matrix. I can't remember his name to give him credit.
I know you're talking about.
But he's a reporter in that movie, and also she plays Elektra in that movie. What's her?
Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner is in that
great.
movie too. That's an underrated movie too. But
Daredevil.
it's back in the day where it's kind of like a rom-com / it's not a rom. It's like a romance superhero movie.
Bro, come on. That's what they all are. They're all fucking romance superhero movies because
I mean, sometimes there's a little bit in there. Like, I
There's
mean,
always a little bit in there. Come on, especially with Spider-Man. That's what I'm talking about. I'm a romantic. You know, he's swooping around.
are you like the Sam? You like what's your favorite Spider-Man? Sam Raimi, or do you like?
Oh, bro, I like the fucking. I like them Tobey Maguires.
You like Sam Raimi? You like
yeah.
Sam
So,
Raimi
but then
Spider-Man.
also, I'm not gonna lie. I watched when they had the British dude
Which one?
that's
with the dark hair.
His name is Tom.
The Amazing
not Tom Hardy, but
Spider-Man.
Tom Holland.
No, not Tom Holland. The other guy.
the
He's
other
thinking
guy?
Andrew
dark hair.
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield, bro.
No, let's forget about him, dude.
I
Yeah.
fucked with that shit, bro.
Jamie
Those are
Foxx is the
fire.
only person to mention out of those
no,
things. 'cause, I mean,
dude, those movies
because
were dope.
when black actors get to be in serious movies and they get a serious role, that should be well noted. Jamie Foxx did a good role in that one.
I don't
so-
care. That movie was fucking tight all the way around. Okay, I
No,
fucking love
he was a
those.
horrible Spider-Man.
No way.
And
dude,
freaking,
he did.
he was dating freaking Gwen Stacy instead of Mary Jane. Fuck that. Freaking, what's her name? Who's a natural redhead but bleached her hair for the movie. She's also in that.
Super bad.
She's super bad.
Yeah, she's in
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson.
No,
She's it's not. That's not.
No, Emma Watson was in Harry Potter. I think.
Yeah. No.
I think you're
that's
talking Emma
Stone.
Stone.
Emma Stone. Okay.
You might want to look that up.
up right now.
She's in.
That sounds right.
She's
though.
in that movie with Ryan Gosling, and she's like, "What are you freaking out of a comic book? Because he's like trying to. She like dates Ryan Gosling. He's really hot, and they go to his house, and he like takes off his shirt, and he's like just shredded.
Dude,
and she's like, "How do you
fucking-
chiseled like this,
bro?
It's because he's dehydrated. Did you know that? And all
that
those
movie,
movies. Sorry,
Crazy Stupid Love.
what's that?
That's that movie that you're talking
it
about.
is?
Yeah.
Oh well, I don't fucking. See, I'm not a movie connoisseur. I
It's
only
a great
like.
movie. Yeah.
So
But you say he's dehydrated. Wait, what?
So like those movies, like and like have you ever seen The Witcher
The
on
show.
Netflix? Yeah.
I haven't.
What?
Is it really good? I heard it's really good.
Dude, get down on that shit. It's good. Henry Cavill kills it.
Really?
It's kind of weird. I mean, his contacts makes his eyes kind of look weird sometimes, but it's not that bad. But I can't wait for the second one because I hope there's more better monster battles because there's some episodes, but there's some episodes where you're just fighting humans, but most of it's he's supposed to be fighting monsters. But fuck, why did I bring The Witcher up?
Because
again?
you're dehydrated ab
Oh,
muscles.
so exactly. So like to look shredded in those films and stuff, they have to dehydrate themselves. So they got no body fat on. They're just straight rack. So every time you see somebody in a like Hugh Jackman, when he coming out of the freaking and he's all shredded as fuck, it's because he's been dehydrated. And that small point of time where he's just fucking weak as fuck, and he's just like he's got no water in his body, and he's just like, yeah, I'm bum as fuck.
No way.
Yeah, every time.
I did not fucking know
every
that.
time you see that, you see
That's
somebody that's
crazy.
just shredded unbelievable. You're just like, I need to be like that guy. It's because
It
he's
depletes
worked it.
everything and sucks like the muscle to the
Well,
skin.
they work the
a little
shit.
bit.
They work the fuck out of it. But those few scenes, only those scenes do they really
Like those slow motion.
where they're like in a bathtub scene, or they're in a long time where you see them without a shirt on, like Chris Hemsworth, a lot of or frickin' Steve Rogers, who's frickin' Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Oh man, Chris, dude, every superhero is Chris. Dude, when are you gonna be a superhero, motherfucker?
I am a superhero.
That's what I'm saying.
He's got Batman shirt
Dude,
on.
he is. He's my guy. Like
he's
I
translucent
love
Batman.
Batman. He's my guy. But yeah.
Torch me up, bro.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. Let's get this going.
Get some,
Flam on.
Yeah.
Talking about underrated superhero.
My guy, dude,
Yeah.
Chris Evans again.
Yes, yeah.
bro. That is
The Human Torch.
weakest superhero.
No,
ever.
actually, he's really not. Like he fights the Silver Surfer. Like, and when he gets later on in
Bro,
the
that
comic
whole
series,
universe is the worst.
Fantastic Four, you are tripping.
They have the strongest.
Straight up.
They have Galactus as a bad guy.
I mean,
He's like the OG
World
of
Eater.
bad guys.
one of the dudes just stretches. Like
So-
one of the dudes is just Inspector Gadget.
Wait like 5 seconds and then go.
5?
This is a quick start, homie. Okay, go now. Get it down there. Yeah, what are you doing? So, I developed a technique to where it's kind of wasting it. You probably can get another spark up on it if you want some more, but you're going to get the tastiest taste you've ever had out of a dab, man. Because you say cold starts, but you can fuck up a cold start really fast. But this, yes, you hear the terpenes. You know, he is coughing with excitement. He's coughing with deliciousness.
That was amazing.
Amazing. You know why? Because... one, the technique, and two, you got the best oil with Rafine up in here.
Holy shit!
You got any? Where's my swabs? And
I got you. You need a cotton swab?
I definitely need some swabs.
Oh my god!
That's that gelato 33, man. That's that stinky, smelly, tasty stuff, man. You trying to get down on this? Okay.
Not unless you want me to go to the hospital.
Yo, I did not know that.
I don't know. Anytime I dab, it makes me
He
weird.
starts twitching.
Yeah?
It's the leg. He'd be like, my leg.
Oh my
Stop
Lanta,
moving.
let's not do that.
I think it's just too much THC up front for me or something.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can definitely. So, like I said, like going back, you can only absorb so much THC, but your body can absorb THC really fast. That's like why sublingualing your fucking, like if you're doing edibles, sublingualing it, sucking on your stuff.
So
like,
what is explain a little bit about edibles and the process, like how that affects you a little bit differently.
It's way different. It depends. Like I said, if you're going sublingual, you're still getting some delta 9.
What was this word you keep saying?
Sublingual. So you have veins. Mm-hmm. They're called the sublingual veins underneath your tongue there.
Okay.
So it's absorbing right underneath your tongue, all in your mouth and everything. You got veins up inside there. Your mouth heals the fastest, dude. You got saliva. Did you know your saliva is just natural enzymes? If you need to clean shit out of your freaking clothes and stuff, spit on your shirt, wash that shit out. It has natural enzymes that break up stuff, and so you have stuff that's working constantly. Your mouth heals super fast. As long as you take care of it, and you're freaking brushing teeth.
Brush your teeth, yeah.
Anyway, so going back, you said stomach. So sublingually, that's gonna bypass the liver. So it's gonna be getting through your blood system because you're usually.
So it'll get in there right in your mouth. It'll hit the bloodstream.
It's just like smoking because your lungs are full of veins as well. So it's just straight absorption. It's bypassing the liver. Your body's just. That's why you feel it so fast because it doesn't have to get processed through the liver. That's why things get broken down differently in the stomach. So when you eat THC, that's why I always tell people, suck on your candy. Keep it in your mouth as long as you can if you want it to be the most effective. Because as soon as you swallow it, it's going to take way longer to affect. Because your body has to digest it, then it goes to the liver, and then your liver has to put it out. CBD is drastically negated. Like the absorption level, the biodegradability of your body absorbing, that is greatly decreased once you start eating it. So that's why you need a sublingual CBD, because it's going to give you the most effect that way. Mm-hmm. THC is converted differently through the liver. It's called 11-hydroxy-THC. You have delta 8 and delta 9 and 11-hydroxy-THC. Delta 8 is through oxidation. So like somewhere through after they've cured the weed and stuff, mm-hmm. This is what I'm guessing as, because I didn't know delta 8 was, I thought it was THCV, THCA, and then somewhere down the line between THCA, delta 8 could occur, or delta 9. Well, it's actually THCA, and then as soon as you heat it up, you decarboxylate it, the acid chain falls off, and it becomes tetrahydrocannabinol. It starts as tetrahydrocannabinic acid. That's what THCA stands for. Yeah. So as soon as that falls off, it becomes tetrahydrocannabinol. And then as soon as you oxidize it, it turns to CBN, which stands for cannabinol. The T and the H fall off. Yeah. But somewhere during that oxidation cycle, these people can harness that delta 8. So like through oxidation, delta 8 is from delta 9 at some point. Mm-hmm. So then intoxication has fallen off, and you're just getting this euphoria and some other kind of benefit. I'm not sure what delta 8 benefits you or does anything to you, but it definitely gives you some kind of mind alteration. But
it's not.
It's
as
more
intense.
Euphoria. It's I like I always say, THC, describe it as intoxicating, not as psychoactive. Some people will say that word. It's a very ambiguous term to use, psychoactive, because CBD is technically psychoactive. It activates a receptor in your brain, the serotonin receptor, and it elevates your mood. Like it is changing your mental state at some minimal level.
Even though it's not something that's noticeably enough to be intoxicating.
Intoxicating, Exactly. And that's why, like, when people come with, they're like, I just want no THC, just CBD. I call it the Idaho standard because Idaho is so freaking up their butt about marijuana, cannabis. They allow CBD because they know that minimal amount of THC isn't going to mind alter you into the point of where you're high. Mm-hmm. So they allow CBD to be sold in Idaho. Mm-hmm. And that's if it's under a certain amount of milligram. So every plant, even hemp plants, produce some small bit of THC, even if it's some other something. So, I mean, people like, I just don't like when people, there's no THC in it at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe, but highly unlikely. And if you're buying it from like offline or at a gas station or somewhere that's not like regulated, or somebody who's if anybody wants CBD, don't send it. Like, if they want something that says that there's no THC, send them to like a CBD based store, like the Spot or the Source, or can't remember. There's
and
another
they just
one.
Do straight CBD
only flower, and because even glass shops, I heard that they can sell CBD flower because it doesn't have any freaking CBD something.
Yeah,
I haven't gone and investigated myself, but. Mm-hmm. I've heard of people saying that like other shops that aren't allowed to sell weed are able to sell CBD because it's not regulated by the state. CBD isn't regulated by the state. Only THC is. So CBD can be whatever. That's why we can have 300 milligrams of CBD inside the store, in opposed to 100 milligrams of THC, because it's regulated in different ways.
So what are the like big benefits of CBD? I know that they kind of work together.
There's
right?
they have an entourage. They have an entourage effect, so they do help each other out. Where the other one fails, it might have the other one. Like with topicals, I always tell people THC penetrates a lot more than CBD does. CBD tends to stay along the topical side, where THC penetrates a little bit more than CBD will. So that's why you'll see some products say CBD skin on it, or they'll see THC muscle or something like that. Those are my words, but those are the words that you'll see on there, and they are insinuating that it penetrates a little bit more than CBD does. It's just your body doesn't absorb CBD as well as THC does. What about
like pre-rolls and shit like that? Like
smoking CBD? Well, so how I explain that, smoking it, CBD grounded, focused. THC spacey, floaty. Because when you're smoking CBD, it's not altering your mind. You're not feeling like you can smoke CBD all day and just be on your game. Like, I used to do that all the time, but
so it definitely, like, THC has that spacey.
Well, you get that. It's that mind altering.
It's that
state. It gives you that different state of mind.
That's what we're after.
Exactly. So like the day to day, like, God, I got to deal with this thing. THC just makes that a little bit more bearable. That's why people use like THC recreationally. It makes that thing that you don't want to do a little bit more bearable. And I think that's why people associate the ritual of, man, I got to go smoke right before I go do this thing. Mm-hmm. Let's smoke before we go do this thing. And that's just that ritual of like making that thing that much better. That's the mindset of it.
Because if you did it, you sober, you're just doing that thing.
Exactly.
Have you ever seen the back of a $20 bill on weed? You know, it's that thing right there.
Exactly.
It's that same thing. It's crazy because Terrence McKenna, who Joe Rogan always talks about, is the dude who
psilocybin.
Yeah, he did all sorts of stuff. And he's talking about how, marijuana is meant to be like used as like mushrooms and stuff, where you would just take a lot of it at one time and have an experience. It's not meant. He said that it wasn't meant to be, like smoked every day and stuff, and that it was something that you would really like have an experience with. And I thought that was interesting because my tolerance is so fucking high,
and especially because like people like Rick Simpson and I keep thinking of like Hunter S. Thompson, people that just do like astronomical amounts of drugs,
crazy drugs
to alter their mind.
Mescaline, like
cocaine,
crazy shit that I'm just like, whoa, dude. I just have a beer and smoke, and it just seems
chilling out.
Some people just go.
I don't know. I don't know.
So what about like tolerance breaks? Like you just took a tolerance break recently, right?
Man, it's a weird experience. So you go from like you think you're hungry all the time, and then you just don't want to eat, and then you're like kind of going through some sort of withdrawals, and like it's more, I think, the breaking the ritual of smoking all the time.
What do you kind of feel like annoyed a little bit that you can't smoke, or that you're not? You're just like, dude, this is so stupid.
Just like that, like, man, I'm usually high when I'm doing this, and I'm not high, so I'm just having to deal with it, normal. You come to work. The biggest thing is the dreams, I think, is the thing that I miss the most about being sober. Is the most I miss about having that tolerance break is going to sleep and then being able to wake up and just remember intensely my dream and what's going on. Because like I'll get up and I'll still kind of be in that dream, but I'll forget it throughout the day. Like I don't remember what I dreamed last night, but I still can probably tell you what I dreamed about that last month. And it's just imprinted in my brain.
Really?
Yeah.
So, because like when you smoke, because I smoke a lot and I still dream.
Well, they say,
but I don't remember them.
Yeah, I think it just puts you in that state. You get because it's rapid eye movement or REM sleep.
I just watched something about that.
REM sleep. Yeah, that's when you dream. Is that rapid eye movement?
And they say that it's like if you're walking upstairs, your eyes will be like looking up.
It's because you're not. You're not getting great sleep. That's because when you're dreaming, you're not getting good sleep. The body's not. Yeah.
I thought you were getting great sleep.
No, deep sleep is when you're getting good sleep.
And so you're not
there's
dreaming
light
at all.
Sleep. There's deep sleep, and you're just
in the deep sleep. Sleeping. You're just dead for a little bit.
Exactly. Your body is just running at minimal level and just building itself in other ways. Like your body digests a lot. You burn a lot of calories while you sleep too. Like you talk to Spitz, like he'll tell you like burns shit ton of calories and stuff like that.
That's why you don't eat right before you go to bed and shit.
You're supposed to. That's why they call it breakfast, because you're breaking fast. You're supposed to be not eating for 12 hours or something like that, because you're supposed to stop eating. You're supposed to stop eating for like 16 hours or something like that, and then you break fast in the morning.
And we're just like, okay, well now it's breakfast.
Give me some eggs and bacon and all this shit. Breakfast, baby.
We have created so many more meals than are necessary.
Dude, we're America. Supersize me, man.
Oh, dude,
everywhere else, our portion.
Second breakfast.
Everyone else's portions are like boopity boop boop, and then you get here and it's like, give me that 1 ounce steak, or give me that freaking 16-ounce steak, son.
I think that it's just like if they kind of. I think Field of Dreams is to blame, because the whole, you build it,
Kevin
they will
Costner,
come type shit.
That
motherfucker, dude. Because seriously, McDonald's is like, well, why don't we just put like 4 patties on it and just see if they eat it? And then they're like, it's a hit.
Let's do it.
Oh,
the Mondo
Let's
Mac.
take you want to take like the vegetables and shit off of it? Like, how about just like no tomatoes, no lettuce, just extra cheese, just put sauce on it, couple pieces of bread, and just ooze it with more cheese. Put a cheese in between every layer of meat, and let's just see. Throw a little fry on the side. We'll see what happens.
Fries on the side. I wonder when that was a thing. Like when the fast food restaurant was it always fries on the side, or was that like you just get a burger and then someday somebody was just like, dude, check out this. I was freaking cutting up some potatoes, some fries, or cutting up some potatoes, and I decided to deep fry them. Like they're all long like this, they're like rectangle and stuff like that. And then this guy name was Albert Fryland.
I mean, something like
Albert Fryland invented fries.
Because I know that like McDonald's had already had the whole thing down. So I'm wondering, that whenever somebody invents something for the first time, they never get credit for it. You know what I'm saying?
Never.
Like somebody else is
gotta have that patent pending, man.
Somebody else is gonna jump in and say, "Ooh, good idea."
I got the money though.
I'm gonna. This is a game, and this is what I tell my buddy here, and this is what I tell a lot of my other friends too. Is that like this thing is like a game, and a lot of people want to play this game of life like it. They think it should be played when you got to play it the way it is. And that's part of it.
And it's just only good when it goes the way you want. That's why I'm getting involved. I'm trying to get involved with learning how to stocks, dude. I'm learning.
Me too.
I'm listening to this Audible right now, man.
Put me on.
Oh man,
please put me on.
It's called How to Make Money, and his name is. My friend just loaned me the book through Audible, so I get it for like 30 days, and it's How to Make Money in Stocks. His name is William J. O'Neill, and it's this epic freaking, like, it's not epic, but just when you're thinking about it, because what makes it epic is because when you see it in real life. My friend is a day trader, and they have things called Robinhood and things like that where you can be an easy day trader and you can make stuff. A day trader is somebody that will buy a bunch of shares during the morning of the day while the sale. They will watch it throughout the day, and they will see how high it will go, and then they will sell. Make some money during the day. My homie is like, yo, I make $300 today. Yo, I made $400. Jake, I made $1,500 today. And I'm like, whoa, Jake, I started with $1,500. Now I'm at $9,000 something dollars on his own account, just learning how to do all this stuff, investing in right companies, and fucking getting himself up there and just making money. And when he's like, dude, I made $300 today, and I'm like, dude, that's two days of work for me, 2-3 days of work. You know,
you feel like you're leaving money on the table.
Fuck. And I'm just he
just by not knowing.
But he shows me and he inspires me, and I freaking get these apps.
This is exactly what, like, Kevin Hart. I was listening to Joe Rogan talking to Kevin Hart, and he was talking about teaching his kid and shit. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about, like, you know, this toothpaste. Like, you know, do you think that this, you know, is going to be around for a while? Do you think people are also going to want to use this? Like, you know, and teaching his kid about investing, and then that kind of brought to my mind of, you know, how much I've neglected just taking in the, you know, it's really the more you know. The more you know, the more you can equip yourself with ways to be more effective in life.
And that's what the wrong is with the American dream today, is because the way that it's all set up is everybody, the American dream is set up for who has all the money, keeps all the money. And that's why when we go to school and we're just indebted, and like just we're put in debt, like other countries, dude, so what kills us in school is prereqs. So prerequisites. So you want to be a nurse or you want to be a doctor, you have to take these 8 fucking classes and then you get to go and take the doctor classes. But you have to know all these other classes before you go and take the doctor classes. Where in other states, I'm not saying doctors that easy, but this is just a generality. Where you go to another country, where you go and you learn, and you're learning to be a doctor while doing doctor things and stuff like that. You're not taking different math classes, all the stuff that you're probably going to use, but not that intensely. So a math class, you might learn that intensely, but maybe you'll use maybe a third of that.
But then maybe so in these other countries, like they're not getting paid as much.
But class is free. Like school is free in some other countries, and you get to go and you just learn in that trade, and then you'll build the economy when you can go and do your trade at that time. Where here we make you spend a bunch of money and then you got to pay it all back. And that's how we keep you in check, and how we keep getting money all the time is because we keep the American people in debt. Not being in politics, and I mean, I may be wrong, but in my opinion, in America, that's why there's all these things, Rockefellers and all this stuff.
That's the American dream, right? Is for you to go to college. People who
have all the money, the Jeff Bezos, why that guy has billions of dollars is because he has all the little people under his thumb. He has all those people that are working really hard, but he's put himself in a point where he's always going to get the most money, while everybody does the most work.
And he's doing the least work.
And that's what America is.
When you found it, that's the American dream.
Exactly.
And that's where it does need to change.
My dad is the last American dream dying person, where you get your house, and he's going to retire in a little bit, and then he gets to live off Social Security, but he has a property, he has his house, he has all the stuff that he wants, but he still makes money on the side and stuff like that. And that's the American dream. And nowadays people don't want to own property. People don't want to own their own houses. People want to travel. People want to do this. It's not, people want to live in a bus. Like that's what people do nowadays.
I know quite a few people living in buses, actually.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, people live above that. And the older generation can't understand that.
I think there's a lot of people with just more information out there that are becoming more enlightened in just not needing material things to be happy.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I mean. And enlightened's a good word for it, but I also think it's just breaking the social stigma. Breaking that.
Well, I say enlightened because it's something that maybe I've found. Maybe you get caught up in Hollywood or all these things, and then you find through experiences and maybe self-maturity that you're like, wow, like I could spend money on all these shoes or buy a new car, and I could like have all these things, and I could still be
the same.
I could actually almost be more sad now, because now like I'm enslaved to my car. Now it's like I have to make this payment or they're going to take my car, and it's like,
and that's the dying American dream, because back in the day they didn't have social media, they didn't have internet, they didn't have the ways to teach you how to do that. So people back then used to think when you had fancy cars and all this stuff, that's when you made it. You're doing something. You have all these fancy cars, fancy shoes. Nowadays, it's just a fad. People, they love shoes. They buy $500 Jordans and wear them because that's their thing. It's not because they've made it. It's because that's the fad. That's the thing they like. So people do it now more for passion than they actually do for getting rich, because
which is way better.
Sometimes I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none, which really sucks. It's because I get myself in dipped in a bunch of other things. Like I was a carpet cleaner for 5 years, and I was like, fuck this shit. My homie is learning about this, and he's teaching me about this, and I'm like, I can do this. So I went and I buckled down and I learned about this stuff, and I got the job that I wanted. And now, it's just a job right now for me. You know, learning that not everybody is intrigued by the science and everything like I was when I first started coming in. And there's a lot of people that are just trying to get high.
Sometimes you're gonna outgrow your positions too.
That's true.
You know, you're gonna outgrow your positions quickly, and you're gonna say.
And that's why I'm trying to invest, man, because I don't want to be an assistant manager. I don't want to be a general manager.
I mean, I think that it's just like you're going to get put in a position where you're going to thrive, and you're just going to outgrow positions. Like you're going to be right for a position, and then you're going to outgrow it, and you're going to be into more. It sounds to me like you're moving in more of a technical, like you need to be in a place where you can thrive giving people information about cannabis or learning new information, and like that is where you need to be.
That was the spark of it. And
doing the hamster wheel is not for you.
No.
You're like a plant that's outgrown his pot.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a jack of all trades. I fucking get into something deep and then get out. Like right now, you know what my new thing is? I really want to get into fucking guns and precision shooting and freaking. I just bought a gun, man. I bought
a good time.
I just bought.
It's just crazy.
Well,
man.
Fuck, dude. One of my favorite movies, Lethal Weapon. In Mel Gibson has a Beretta M9 92 FS, freaking A1, just freaking baller ass gun. You know, military used, police used, replaced the 1911. It's a badass fucking gun. I wanted it forever. There's some cons about it.
You bought it?
I fucking went into Double Eagle Pawn, dude. Found it. $570 later, I got a gun.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
And in 3 weeks, they check my background check. Well, dude, if you want, I'm trying to do it safe. I'm not trying to fucking carry. Because before I went even bought a gun, I went and tried to get my concealed weapons permit. I was trying to do everything fucking legit. If I did want to have it in my car or something like that, I would have the right proper stuff to do it. They're not issuing them right now. Spokane's not even issuing you a concealed permit right now, so you can't even go get one. And it's, you know, so technically I can't carry a gun on me. But Washington's an open state, so I can carry a gun on me, but I have to carry it open to where everybody can see it and to where they allow open carry inside the store or wherever have you. Double Eagle Pawn, they do. When I was in there, they have a slew of fucking guns. Biggest supply guns in Spokane.
Really?
Shout out Double Eagle Pawn. Like, no shit. Like, they got, if you're looking for that, because I was researching bunch of stuff, looking up what I needed. Like when I went in there, because I never bought a gun before. I mean, I've had guns. I have guns that my dad's bought me, and he's like, these are your guns. I didn't buy them, but he's like, these are your guns. They're in my gun safe. These are your guns. I got a 22, and I got I think I got a hunting rifle. I'm pretty sure it's a 308. It's what I went hunting when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Shot him in a long time, but I've been shooting guns my whole life. I've gone through the hunting courses, so I've done that. I went and watched a video on how to, like a 30-minute video on a real gun instructor who's a police officer who fucking teaches you how to clean the gun, take it apart, all this stuff. And it was an online concealed permit. They wanted me to give him like $60, but I was like, what is this? And I was like, I thought it was just gonna be like a sheet I could fill out, like print out and like go in there and be like, yeah, I already watched some video and they know the ins and outs and what I'm getting into. And but when I went in there, they're like, yeah, we don't issue anything. But like I said, I researched a bunch of stuff. So when I went in there, I was, you hold the gun and stuff, and I messed around with it. I know how to use the decocker and pop it open, and it's a hammer gun. It's what kind of appeals to me, is because I like old style hammer guns. I don't want just a pin gun like a Glock or like a SIG or Smith & Wesson Shield or something like that. I want something that's got a hammer. So it's a double action. It's one of the last double actions guns. So double action meaning The first action is it's pulling back the hammer. Second action, it's firing the gun.
Okay.
So that's what double action means. A lot of them are single action today, where it's you cock the gun. This has a safety on it as well and a decocker. So like if it's cocked, you can pull down the thing.
So you go full lethal weapon. Have you shot it yet?
No, I'm going through the background check. So I've already paid for it, but so they're
waiting.
background checking. It's going to take like 2 weeks or something like that, especially during the pandemic right now. It takes even longer. Usually it's like 10 days. But after that, I think I can go same day and buy a gun after I have my background check and everything like that. But I can carry dude, I went as far as I bought something I can carry the gun outside my holster with, but it's mostly a concealed one. It's like kind of like a shoulder strap one.
Bro, you
It's
really
like
going full
that's what I say. I'm
bro.
the jack of all trades,
He's going full,
man.
Like he wants to. He's
when I get
showing
into
up,
some
he's showing up wife beater, just the fucking holster, bro.
looking like a cop that just got off a fucking 30-hour
just
shift.
got fired, bro.
Up
the
on
cop that just got fired and he's mad and he's in the desert.
Lethal Weapon, man. He's in a trailer. He's not fired, but he's mentally unstable. He's sitting in his trailer thinking about shooting himself with a hollow point, sticking his M9 in his freaking in his mouth. That's a crazy movie, but
That is a crazy movie.
it's also iconically made that gun really iconic, and it's a very reliable gun, and from what I've researched, it's a good first gun to buy because it's such a reliable gun. It's a little bit bigger. It's not the quite ideal concealed carry gun, but if I do feel the need one day that I have to carry a gun on me at some time to carry my, because I'm not saying I need to right now, but who's to say that it, you know?
I mean, the thing is that I think a big fear for a lot of people is that there's going to be a time when you just can't get them anymore, and then there might be some Mad Max.
And
shit
that's
that
why
goes
people
down.
buy. But there's always private sales, man. Everybody's gonna
someone's
guns are always gonna be accessible,
People
man.
have a lot of guns,
And then if they're not accessible, there's fucking real scientist motherfuckers that will find a gun, because you can buy shit now. There's a guy that I watch on YouTube. Shout out Slingshot channel. It's called something. His name is like Jorgen. He's a German, and he's invented the instant Legolas, and it's this automatic crossbow, but it's not considered a firearm or a crossbow. So it's this automatic arrow shooting thing that you can buy, and it's intense.
Really?
If you go into the Slingshot, if you put in the Slingshot channel, it'll come up, and he's so funny. He's German. Let me show you.
I've seen this
features.
guy. I have seen this guy.
And he is so funny, man. But
Okay, I'll have to check out his new shit.
He's a scientist. Like, he's just a regular engineer. He just has an engineering degrees, and he's just dude that builds stuff in his garage.
blowing shit up. Yeah, you like blow shit up, right?
I mean, he does other stuff, but he's freaking, builds automatic crossbows and shit. And he teaches you how to use them. He shows you how it's made, and he makes them out of wood and rubber bands, and doesn't use any kind of
Maybe he's a different guy.
Any kind of fire, like any kind of fire, anything like that. It's all rubber bands
So it's not
and wood.
really.
I mean, when they make it mass produced, they make it out of like carbon fiber and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when he's making it at his house,
Prototypes and shit, yeah.
yes, it's just fucking 2x4s and fucking. He's like, check this out. So he's got the automatic one. He runs it on a drill. So the first instant Legolas, he's got a clip of arrows, and so there's like 5 arrows. So what he does is he goes forward and he pulls it back, and the string comes back, and he's got a little trigger. So it comes up, grabs the string, comes back, and it loads the arrow in. So it's in the clip, and it's loaded in, and he clicks a button and it fires out. If he wants to fire another one,
He just hits a button.
so he got this
And
inspiration.
what's it called? It's called a Legolas?
Have you ever watched Lord of the Rings?
I have.
So the elf that's played by Orlando Bloom,
Yeah.
that's really fast at shooting, he's like the ultimate archer, Legolas. So he's taking a regular bow and turning it into an automatic bow. So it didn't look like a crossbow. It was just a regular bow that he would take, and he'd fucking...
Yeah.
But then he started making automatic ones. So he took a drill, hooked it up to this thing, and he just pulls the trigger, and it just... and he shoots out these arrows in succession. And you're just like... Oh my God! If you have that in your house,
But that's not considered any kind of a firearm.
So in Germany, so strict on what you can have. Like you can have a lot of weapons. Like you can't own like a lot of firearms and stuff like that unless it's
we're like one of the only countries, huh? We're just
America.
Like to the T.
That's what I'm saying, dude. I love America. Like, I mean, I know we're fucked up and we have a lot of problems, but dude, we have so many fucking freedoms, dude. America. Even though we have a shitty president right now and it sucks, but I don't want him to fail. I don't want us to fail.
A lot of people.
He's the captain of the fucking
ship. If you
ship.
look at our fucking country, we're definitely unique in a lot of ways.
But he's not the greatest captain.
We're armed to the fucking teeth. It's
fucking
funny.
A, dude.
It's funny. But then you look at Mexico and shit, and you're like, whoa, they doing some crazy. Like Mexico, I feel like they just do whatever.
Everybody has their own shit.
That's the other thing too. That's kind of weird too. The craziest thing to me about Mexico.
Yeah, what's going on with Mexico?
It's just that it's like it seems like this like scary place, right? Like people are like coming to America because they're like, this place is fucking crazy, right?
It's not like how it used to be.
But then we're just like, let's go to Mexico, take a little vacation.
Fuck America for a little bit.
It's just so crazy.
And people are like, America, land of the free.
I've heard of stories of people who were like vacationing in Mexico, and there's like gangs there that are like fucking with people. So it's like, it just seems like just this crazy place. It's such this beautiful place where we want to just like take our privileged asses down there and just kick it on the beach. And there's people getting fucking killed in the streets, and the government ain't saying shit.
The water's shit.
You're just like, what the fuck?
Tons of stuff.
For the people coming in, the tourists, it's like beautiful. And for the person that just every day lives there, it's like, no, fuck you. No. Get over here.
Get out of here. Exactly. And that's why America is like, we are so divided still. We're not really the United States anymore. We were called the United States when we were like 13 colonies and like coming back, in the beginning. But now we're a bunch of countries, man, together. And we just...
Yeah, every state...
different accents, different all walks of life, and I mean
that is cool.
And I mean, people are
because you get to kind of decide. You get to decide. You're like, hey, I'm. This is my lifestyle. This is my type of shit. I want to go here. Like I like guns. I like Trump or whatever. It's like, okay, we'll go to Idaho. Okay, or I like I like strip clubs. I like crazy shit. It's like, okay, yeah, dude, Portland, perfect.
Let's go. What's great about the weed store is like you could have somebody who's anti-Trump and someone who's a Trump supporter come in the same shop and they have a similar thing. Yo, they're both smoking crazy. Weed.
It's so,
and you have to treat them like everybody else.
Everybody together, bro. I don't know. I try not to. I like to have a diverse group of people around me who have all sorts of beliefs and shit, and I really like a lot of times you're going to be friends with somebody and you're not even going to know that they have this belief, until you actually have a conversation. So it's like if you're friends with somebody and then you find out that they have a belief about,
that's why politics are so fucked.
Or a politic or something. Yeah. And all of a sudden now you're not friends. It's like, that's just
so many beliefs, and that's why religion and politics are such a touchy subject.
But that's why it's great. That's why it's leave it out. And that's why you leave it out. That's why it's built into our society to leave it out of the conversation in any kind of a social gathering.
Come back again, fucking America, dude. That's why I love America. It's because we can do whatever the fuck we want. If we don't want to do that, we can not do that. If we want to do that, we can fucking do that.
You get to choose what you want to and not want to engage in.
And I mean, I'm not saying that all of the choices are the best choices, but right now we have the choice to do so. And the best thing that we can do is choose the fucking vote.
Yeah. Well, you got to, definitely use.
You want another dab, man?
Yes. Definitely use your voices.
Is there any freaking more weed stuff you want to talk about? What other? I want
to know. Oh, I just... let's extraction methods. I wanted to talk about extraction methods because we talked about the live resin, but I just wanted to talk about because you got the BHOs and the EHOs and the all these different.
I mean, EHO, that's just ethanol. Solventless and solvent free are like different between because I mean, solventless means that you didn't use any solvents during the extraction process. Solvent free means that it does no longer have any solvents in it. Mm-hmm. So meaning distillate, every kind of oil that you get is technically solvent free. There's going to be some residual. That's when we talk about the ppms.
Because they purge, but there's still some left.
There's going to be some left, but on some level that it's negligible, that's not going to be harmful to you. And smoking's harmful anyway, but that's what we do. We smoke. But CO2 is the safest way because we breathe out CO2 every day. They collect that.
Okay.
Then they put that under extreme pressure because it's a gas all the time. So they put it under this pressure. So what that does is the molecules get so squeezed together that it gets put in this super critical state where it's a gas and a liquid at the same time. So the molecules are so close that it's a gas, or it's a gas initially, but they're so close together that they have to be close enough to give some solidical form, like they are some liquid.
Okay.
So it's under immense pressure, so they don't put any external heat, but under this immense pressure, those molecules are rubbing together. So they're creating massive amounts of friction. So that's creating massive amount of heat. So it's this creative amount of thing you can have, depending on the pressure, is how much heat. So CO2 is a very precision, tricky thing to use because you're using temperature, pressure.
So is there any downfalls to like CO2 or like people? Is there
terpenes don't, CO2 doesn't grab very good terps. It grabs good cannabinoids because, so when I was talking about chains, acid chains, so they want to grab to carbon. They want to grab to carbon molecules. So soon as heat comes to it or some kind of solvent or any kind of decarboxylation, that acid chains falls off. So THC is just floating around looking for a carbon molecule because it's these carbon side chains. So it's carbon molecules. So each cannabinoid is broken up into a certain carbon chain. So there's a regular cannabinoid carbon chain, and then there's an acid carbon chain. And it's usually, most cannabinoids are like 15. I could be, it's been a little bit since if I remember this correctly, but usually it starts at like 15, and then 5 of those carbon is the acid. So when you decarboxylate it, it falls off, and then it's those 10 initial carbon chains. So it's missing those carbons, so it's looking for something to grab onto. That's where the CO2 comes in. Okay. CO2 is really good at grabbing cannabinoids. So it grabs that cannabinoid. So THC goes, oh, CO2. So it grabs onto it, and that's why it comes along with it. And that's why you use solvents, because like when you use ethanol, like you said, so that's why they initially use like if you're making cartridges, you'll use CO2 and you'll have this really waxy, gross crude oil is what it's called. Okay. And it's got waxes and impurities, chlorophyll, a bunch of stuff inside of it. They put it in ethanol, and it's called winterization. Have you done your test yet at work yet? Mm-hmm. This is one of the things in it. It's winterization. Just how you make chicken stock at home. You put it in ethanol. They put it in negative 40 degrees Celsius, which is, I can't remember what Celsius to Fahrenheit to ratio is off the top of my head. But it's really fucking cold. And what happens is when you make chicken stock at home, you cook all of the bones and everything after the thing, and you'll take all of that oil and stuff that's in there, and you pour it into a jar or what have you into the fridge, and you put it in the fridge. And overnight, all of that fat is going to rise to the top, and it's going to stick with the water because fat is water soluble. Cannabinoids they want solvents, so they're solvent soluble, so they stick around with the solvents. So all of the fats are sticking up with the water that's inside of the fats and everything, and all of the cannabinoids are sticking with the ethanol. And then the winterization process, you'll see it. If you go on to Avitas, if you go onto YouTube and you look up Avitas extraction method, they'll have a point where you're just like, okay. And she'll show you all the different methods. She's not showing you everything because there's some proprietary stuff, but she'll show you the winterization, and she'll pull out a jar, and some stuff is separating. And then after it's separated, they'll throw it through filters, and they call them micron filters, and it depends. And they'll throw it in, and they'll filter it and filter and filter. And they have to do a decoloring process, which gets out the chlorophyll, because if they don't, oil will be the Avitas oil would be green, like have a greenish tint to it instead of that amber color. But during all that process, you're losing cannabinoids and stuff. So they're doing all these things at critical moments at time and precision to get the right cannabinoids that they want out of the plant. And they have their own ways of capturing terpenes and everything like that.
God, man, science is a motherfucker, dude.
Man, I don't know how I put all this stuff in my brain.
Dude, I don't know how you've retained it because you've told me so many times. Well, why don't you have you on the podcast? Because I was like, you told me so many times, and I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? I need to get this on recording so I can go back and listen and learn.
And I just write it down. And then I listen to people and I write it down, and that's what gets me to
and
remember
you watch
it.
like YouTube videos and stuff.
And other people, and then after I have an understanding, then I can watch other people's stuff, and then getting in the industry and like having the farm tours and the industry parties and getting to pick other people's brains, like the guys from Budweiser, Jaron from Budweiser. Dude, he's a fucking wizard with the weed, man.
Dude,
he's
the weed
so
is
awesome.
so good, man.
And like when we were squishing rosin, and I was talking, that's why we had the rosin in the shop. We haven't bought it in a little bit. Like, there's such a small farm still that we sell out of them like that, and why we don't have them all the time is because they're a small farm.
Yeah,
they're growing it. We can't sell it. We sell it faster than they can grow it.
Dude, but it's so
good,
so good.
And it's because we talk it up, and it's because we know it's good. And he's like making rosin for super cheap, and $36 for like bomb ass rosin when you buy fucking Dangsar's rosin. But I say their rosin is more on par with House of Cultivar's rosin. That's $60 a gram, and they're selling for 36, 35.
36, yeah,
dude, bueno.
Budweiser,
bueno.
We're gonna hit him up.
Hit him up. Yeah,
I love these hats,
dude. Jaron's the shit. Because I mean, I was taking an order and I was talking to him about it. And he's like, dude, we make rosin. I'm like, dude, bring that shit in. I was like, dude, if it's good, we'll sell it all fucking day. I'm like, dude, we
sell rosin, bro. We sell
all the time.
People like it, man. People like knowing that it's something that hasn't been. That it's just been
quality.
Squeezed and yeah, exactly.
And then what's good is when it is an expensive product, most of the time it is
bro,
super
Budweiser
quality
is just,
product.
All their weed is like old school sticky. Old school sticky.
It's the same with like Royal Tree, man. Their weed is always sticky.
That Delato.
I just rolled up earlier. Freaking shout out to Amy from the Valley. She got me Dutch cake. That stuff was just a smelly ass Dutch treat from Royal Tree Gardens.
Really?
They had in the Valley.
I just had that Citrique.
Citrique, man. I've been doing good on my reviews, and so Cam's kind of slipped me a couple of samples of the Citrique, and
that's Citrique.
I rolled up.
Damn, bro.
Aliens are invading, man.
Holy shit.
Just the F-16s.
I don't know if you guys can hear that. But.
Oh, most likely.
Well,
that's the beauty of living next to Fairchild Air Base.
I love it.
That's the thing that sucks about Spokane too, is we're so close that any kind of war that's going down, they're gonna take over our city, man.
No, we're gonna be able to blast off.
No, man.
I'm gonna hop on one of those jets. Take me to fucking Dubai.
What's that movie? Red Dawn. It's about Spokane.
It is about Spokane.
It's about Spokane.
Right? And there's like, dude, it's like
invasion of like China.
You saw the old one, right?
It's what's his name?
Roundhouse Kick. What's his name?
Yeah, no, it's not.
Roundhouse Kick.
He's talking about Roadhouse. So he's talking about not Kurt Russell. It's Patrick Swayze.
Roundhouse Kick. Chuck Norris? What the fuck are you talking about?
But I know what you're talking about. See, so I am kind of a movie. I know some movie shit, but Patrick Swayze, dude. Shout out to R.I.P. to Patrick Swayze.
Right? Wasn't he
Dirty Dancing. I don't know.
I think he was, dude.
You might be right.
Yeah, I think that was Swayze.
Because Kurt Russell was like Big City, Little China. What was that movie? Was I'm Snake Plissken. Call me Snake.
Was
I can't remember it.
That was Escape from
L.A. Escape from New York. You're right. He's like,
yeah, dude.
That's where, dude, Hideo Kojima loves American old 80s films like that. And Kurt Russell, he wanted Kurt Russell to be Solid Snake. He hated David Hayter as the voice of Solid Snake. He wanted, who do you get for the final one? That has a very famous voice. His name is
I don't remember what the
Phone Booth. You ever watch
Colin Farrell?
Lost Boys, the original Lost Boys? He was the vampire.
Talking about Kiefer Sutherland?
Kiefer Sutherland. You ever watch Phone Booth with Colin Farrell?
Yeah.
And Kiefer Sutherland is the guy on the phone.
Oh, okay.
He's got a really good telephone voice, and he
Solid Snake. Bro.
yeah, he plays Solid Snake in the very fifth one. He plays Venom
the very fifth
Snake,
one.
the fifth one. Well, David Hayter plays most of them, but
Who's David Hayter? That's just some.
he's a voice actor. He's not a very well-known actor, but he does some anime, does some mostly video, and he's mostly well-known for
He did
Solid
the first
Snake.
one though.
He is Solid Snake.
Oh, he is. Solid Snake.
Like anytime you think of Solid Snake, David Hayter. Kiefer Sutherland did a good job, but Hideo Kojima never like David Hayter. I don't know if they had an outing or what, but he was Solid Snake.
Dude,
like,
the
for
first
all
Metal
the
Gear
games.
was the best one, in my opinion.
I mean, it is the original is very good.
It's OG, bro. It's so good. I remember when I got the demo on PlayStation.
Oh man,
and it was just like
oh my god,
having to
I
crawl
love you
through
right now, 'cause,
ducks and like
over and over did I play that game, and I sold my whole like regular Nintendo and like 20 games that I had for it, and they gave me like 30 something bucks. And you know what I bought? Metal Gear with all like almost all of the money. Because my mom's like, I need a new game. She's like, well, you gotta. She's like, 'cause she bought me a PS1, and she's like, can't get you a new game. You have all these games, and I think my dad was like, well, we just pawn all this and freaking see if we can fucking get you a game. And so I pawned all my regular Nintendo back in the day, got Metal Gear Solid because of that demo disc, man. I had Gran Turismo. I can't remember what it came with because back in the day when you get
it come with multiple.
PlayStation Magazine, you wouldn't just see like something on there. You would get a demo of it because you didn't get a YouTube video of it, of a stream. They would send you a disc and like, these are the new games that are in development right now. Gran Turismo 2 was on that. Metal Gear Solid, I think Medieval was on there.
I remember that. That was so
There was
fucking
so
badass,
many,
dude.
Man, if you still had that demo disc today, you're a rich guy because that thing, people are sought after. The people pay for that shit. That's like not meant to be sold anymore, and you just got it for free. People pay money.
And we never would have thought that would be a fucking thing.
We don't give a fuck. It
Like,
came in a little cardboard sleeve and everything. It didn't even have
you
a
could probably
case.
sell a fucking AOL disc, an AOL online fucking disc for a fucking at least $50.
I mean,
Someone's
maybe
probably like, oh, dude.
some nostalgic guy that's like, yeah, you have to be the right person.
And that's what it is.
But that's
too,
what I'm
huh?
thinking. Anybody to the right person is anything is worth money to the right
Oh,
person.
especially nostalgia. Like it can just like people will just purchase a feeling.
You know what's
that they
funny
get
right
from
now?
an object that has no value.
Is my dad is fucking like this and fucking like weed stuff, like all these farm stuff, like lanyards and all this farm merch later on in like 30, 40 years when weed's been legal for years and people are like, oh, dude, you remember the old farms? Oh, you remember GLW? Oh, you remember Doc Croc and all this stuff? Lanyards and merch and all that stuff. It's going to be worth something to people. People are going to want that, to have that old nostalgic feel. My dad is like number one on buying old shit. He's got these old thrifty
Smart,
like
dude.
these old. My dad makes money,
That's
man,
fucking smart
off
as
of like
fuck.
buying and selling stuff.
Really?
He knows, like he'll find like the fads of things, and he'll be like, "This is worth money right now. Go karts are what's in. Mini bikes are in." So he's like, "Jake, this is off this so and so thing. These are hard to find." And he fucking buys these things for $100. He's like, "Yeah, Jake, I fucking sold this." One time in particular, I don't. You might notice about me. I get so excited about something, I start getting really quiet and whispery. It's because for some reason, I think it's a secret, and I just I gotta be quiet about it. Like, no, don't tell this guy. This is pivotal information. And I'm just quiet about it. But it's just more like, it's just my dad does the same freaking thing. It's
Really?
so weird, dude. So weird. Genetics are freaking weird.
Genetics are weird, man.
But he just gets this. So I'm riding around on this bike, like after my accident thing. Go back to what we were talking about earlier, like. Afterwards, I didn't have a car. So I had a freaking Redline bike. It was a BMX bike. It was all aluminum. It was a BMX racing bike. This thing was an expensive bike. My dad bought it off some dude at a car sale or a garage sale for like $40 or something like that. Rode this thing around. I got really into billiards. Like I said, I was a jack of all trades. So I bought a $600 cue. It's probably when it was first made or more. It's probably now. It's $1,000. It's a Lucasi. It's a quick slip. So like it's not. You don't sit there and screw it all the way on. It pops in. You screw it twice and it's in. It's a fucking badass cue. And I also got my brake cue is $130.
So you're like
cue.
just really into pool.
Into
for a little
playing
while.
billiards. And I would ride my bike to McHugh's, but it's called Black Diamond now. I go there. They knew me there. And they would let me play for free. I would buy food and stuff, and they just let me open the table and play. Went in there all the time. Got a car. I stopped riding. I stopped playing pool. Man, I get out of things. I get into it and I get out of it. And but I gave back my dad the bike. Sold it for like $600 to somebody. It's this red line bike that I've been riding around like it's
forever.
Tying, like had a bike chain. And my dad had bought it for me for $40 at a yard sale. I was like, here's a bike.
Came full circle in life. And
He went back to that guy, was trying to like, dude, I made a lot of money on it. He bought him like a case of beer or something like that. The guy was like, oh, just buy me some beer or something like that. But went back to that guy and tried to, was like, dude, found out that this bike was worth this much money and fucking did this.
Dude, good dude right there.
My dad's a great old guy, but he's also an old guy.
Hey, old guys are they got wisdom, man.
They're wise.
They pass it down.
But in my belief, a lot of old people need to die before the country's going to get a little better. Not to saying I want my dad to die. I love my dad.
Jesus Christ.
But I'm just saying, if the country's going to get any better.
I mean, people just need to fucking, there's
Apply
definitely
themselves, man.
There's definitely,
Vote.
like, the younger people just need
Vote.
to step up and vote.
Vote.
Exactly. So
If you want the world to change, vote.
it's going to. The world is going to change. There's absolutely nothing that anybody can do to stop it, whether you're young or old, because social media and artificial intelligence and all this shit is fucking coming full steam
And we
ahead,
have
baby.
more information. You don't even need to go to school. If you want to be something, you can learn it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why you go to school is to get some little piece of paper that says you fucking went there for so long and did this thing.
And then you find out people are flipping shit on the internet, making fucking thousands of dollars.
Money,
and
dude.
you're like, dude, why go $20,000,
some average
$30,000 in
Joe.
debt?
Exactly.
That's crazy.
And that's the internet today. It's either between applying yourself or fucking just you can do anything today as long as you apply yourself. And I mean, like I said, America is a place where if you're rich as fuck, you're going to stay rich. Got wealthy fucking people here. There's fucking
Well, like I said, bro,
Trump family.
people, you want to play the game.
If you want to
like
be the
think it
president,
should
you
be
just gotta have money.
But right now, it's like, it is what it is. So I just hope people are grinding and preparing and coming up and being strategic and shit. And dude, I appreciate you coming on because I just wanted to pick your brain on all these random ass subjects, bro.
And I love how we can just freaking talk about whatever too, because that's what you think like podcasts and stuff. Like, is it good enough to sit there and talk about whatever for an hour? Is people gonna listen to that? And it's like, dude, you're getting involved. People have the same thoughts, but you're reaching to somebody that is listening to this, like maybe in the middle of the state where they have flat ground everywhere. They don't have no mountains or anything. Like I used to date a girl from Salt Lake City, and she would always ditch on our mountains. She would always, like these are hills. These aren't mountains. But when you're living in Salt Lake City, you're surrounded by the Rocky Mountains. Of course, these are gonna look like hills to you, but here we're like the Spokane Mountain over there, and she's like, that's Spokane Hill.
Yeah, that's a hill. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, whatever. But
dude, Utah is gorgeous, man. It's like a postcard everywhere you look.
But it's full of industrial things, and they're in a little like
a grid.
No, not a grid. You're just in a cesspool, and like, it is so much, dude. They are breathing in it's like China, man. There's so much like smog and stuff in there. There's no fresh air coming in down that thing.
I don't know. When I was there, I got planned.
I'm sure it was fine,
great.
but I mean, if you're living there for a long time,
it seemed great.
Man, she would tell me stuff.
Dude, it would be like the biggest, bluest skies, and then just like, I just remember it looking like a postcard. Like you just be at the gas station, just looking around, like, wow, this is amazing.
Man, she would tell me. She would tell me some crazy
and
stories.
You can go up to Park City and go up there and snowboard and shit, where they got the like Olympics and shit. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's legit.
But visit. Find a good place to live. Spokane's a good place to live.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm too logical, and at times it comes off as pessimism, but I'm just like, I'm thinking bigger picture.
True.
I don't want to be like, don't go to Salt Lake City, because what you saying sounds really nice. That makes them.
It was actually really nice. I've lived
snowboarding.
there for like a year.
Didn't we get like Shaun White from that? From
so.
Salt
I don't know
Lake
if
City?
he's from Salt Lake City. But
I don't know.
Snowboarding for sure.
Snowboarding.
Well, bro, dude, thank you for coming on, man.
I appreciate you.
We're gonna take some dabs. We're gonna keep this conversation going, but we're gonna get off the airwaves.
The airwaves, yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you, brother.
Thanks, man.
All right, guys. We out of here.
Peace.
y'all. I'm just happy to be here. Hey, so if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Like your mouth heals super fast.
The little dog helmet and little dog goggles.
Michael Clark Duncan.
Torch me up, bro.
I got a gun.
Roundhouse kick.
Can absorb THC really fast.
Man, I wish I was Spider-Man. I would just kind of fly around the neighborhood.
Where is it where you're like really super smart, but you're kind of autistic?
Oh, autistic? Yeah. Okay, so you can like tell the future and shit.
I'm gonna pick Batman because he's my favorite superhero.
Man doesn't even have a power.
Oh, it's Kevin. I'm pretty sure. Sorry, it's Kevin.
Dude, good dude right there.